This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
A very good afternoon, children. Welcome to this afternoon's game drive. And we are coming and broadcasting to you straight from the Masai Mara in Kenya, in East Africa. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Achi. Please ask us your questions through your teachers. Ask us as many as you can. And just to start with right now, we do have some sleeping lions for you guys. So Archie is going to show you your first animal of the day. And today we are joined by 3 schools: Shelton Park Elementary, who haven't joined us before, Good Pasture Christian School, who haven't joined us before, and North Landing Elementary, and they have joined us before. Please welcome and engage us in as many questions as possible. That is a lioness you see there, and she is resting because it has been very, very hot. But now it's cooling down, and the weather here in the Masai Mara is 30 degrees Celsius and about 86 Fahrenheit, which is quite hot for this place. Savannah, I don't know, you asked how does the lion ecosystem look like? Well, it consists of different habitats. It has this open savanna. It does have wooded savanna and water, and also it does have lots of game in between, from buffalo, warthogs. So that is the habitat of, or the ecosystem that a lion needs. It has to have water, it has to have cover, it has to have whatever it eats, and over here there is quite a good number of that. I hope I answered your question, and if not, you can always re-ask it and I'll be very pleased to answer. That is another lioness. Over here there is about 5 of them. Those are 2, and the one we just seen, and we have 2 more. They're in the long grass, so we might not be able to show you all of them, but shortly, once we are comfortable, we'll be able to move and show you a different angle. But they are all very sleeping. Class, you asked me how I can tell how old a lion is. It is through experience. Just like maybe you grew up with cats, you grew up with dogs, maybe horses, maybe donkeys, maybe geese, maybe pigeons. I grew up with these animals and I have seen them most of my life. So that's how I can learn how old they are, because I have seen those ones that are very new. I've seen those ones that are 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, even old age. So that's how I can tell, how old they are. At the same time, there are marks that we look for. In males, they have a nice big male, and sometimes it does get gray as they age. Females also, they get very tatty ears at the top, and sometimes they look, they lose their canines, and also they look, skinny towards the end. And, those are the signs we look for. So you have to be here to be able to, and to, to be with them every day to be able to learn how old they are. Yes, while, we sit down here and reposition, let me send you to Sydney, my colleague in Kruger, who's got another lion.
What a great sighting, and most of all, welcome on board. This is Sydney Pumulani Mikosi, and I'm traveling with Senzo, who is my camera operator this afternoon, as well as Toli, who is part of our team. For in case if you need our attention, you can ask your teachers. They can follow us on Twitter, #SafariLive. I am having a very beautiful lion sighting at the moment, and this lion is very much pretty relaxed. I can see nicely under a shade. It's too hot at the moment here where I am. When it's too hot like this, animals, they do lie down under these beautiful shades. So you can see that when the head is against the trees, the other animals won't see these lions when they're lying down like this. So these animals can be able to lie down for up to 18 hours a day. That is quite a lot. So they need quite a lot of time to rest. Normally, they do go up and down during the night until early mornings. Isaiah, what a great question. Isaiah, we call it Isaiah here in South Africa. Isaiah, thank you very much for such a lovely question. The lions, as I have just indicated, they can sleep long hours. The motive behind a long sleep is that these animals, after feeding, they have got to have a lot of time to give the food much time to digest the food in the stomach. So if you look there now behind that ear, there is a very nice black tip. So if you look at that, look now it's showing us, it's swiveling the ears. You can see that black tip and the white. They use these black tips for communication when they are walking as a group. They can be able to communicate with each other without making any noise. So now let's cross over to Botswana, where one of my friends, Steph, is now by the Chobe River.
All right, so we have got a warm welcome from the Chobe River here in northern Botswana for you. My name is Stefan Winterboer and we are on camera with David today. And what you were just looking at is quite a rare resident of the Chobe River. That was a long-toed plover. Now, long-toed plovers or long-toed lapwings have a unique feature. These particular birds have a unique feature in that the middle toe of the three that face forward is elongated, about double the length of a normal plover. And the reason for that is precisely because of the area that you're finding them in at the moment. They like to walk on aquatic vegetation, and to make it from one water lily to the other, you need to span one or more water lilies, right? And so they use the long toe to spread their weight across more than one lily leaf, and that allows them to walk across the vegetation and essentially use or have access to a bunch of insects that other plovers wouldn't have access to. Just have a look at that. Now, plovers, they make their nests in scrapes, and that bit of mud that you're looking at over there would be ideal for them. They'd need to keep their eggs dry, so they'd probably pluck some grass and lay it down in a bit of a mat, and then just lay their eggs straight onto the floor. And their eggs are some of the most camouflaged eggs that we find in the natural world. And when you can, research plover egg or lapwing egg, and you'll see that they will, you'll be amazed at how camouflaged those eggs actually are. Now, McLean, you'd like to know what these birds eat exactly. They eat insects, McLean. So they'll hunt during the day, probably early morning. They will walk across all these reeds in the grass here on this water's edge, and they will be looking for insects that are either stuck or rafted on the lily leaves or come up for air or on the grass. That's what they eat. So insects, invertebrates, like crabs and things like that come up, that's what they're looking for. Now, why did they get nervous there all of a sudden? Ah, there's a hawk above us. Savannah, how can you tell whether they're male or female? In some cases, the female bird will be bigger than the male when they look the same. So what we're going to do is we'll look closely at these two birds, and you can tell me which one you think looks the biggest. The one that looks the biggest to you is the female. When birds are not the same colored, in other words, when the male and the female are different colors, usually the colors gives it away, and then all you have to do is know what colors to look for, which tells a boy from a girl. So in this particular case, because they look the same, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for the bigger one, and the bigger one is the girl. Can't really see that now, but a little bit earlier, I don't know if you noticed, a couple of minutes ago, they twisted their heads up to look at the sky and they got nervous. And that was because there was a bird of prey that was flying above the boat that we're sitting on at the moment, and they got nervous because birds of prey will prey on these guys. The one disadvantage, the negative thing about being able to walk around on leaves on water is that there's nowhere to hide. And because there's nowhere to hide, they get very nervous when birds of prey are flying around. I'll tell you, you'd like to know how long the river is? The entire Chobe-Zambezi River is over 1,500 miles long, okay? 2,335 or 34 odd kilometers. And that is a massive difference, a distance. In fact, it's the fourth longest river in Africa. Fourth longest river in Africa, and Africa is a big place. It is also the largest river that flows east into the Indian Ocean. All the other large rivers in Africa flow west into the Atlantic Ocean. Now, you can go and have a look at an atlas, and you can go and have a look at what I'm saying about east and west flowing rivers. And in fact, the largest river in Africa, the Nile, flows north from not too far away from here, in fact. Now, we saw a fantastic bird here just now, a bird that I've only ever seen twice in my whole guiding career, twice in 20 years. We're going to see if we can see it now. I last saw it just in the reeds here, and really, let's spread some goodwill here and hope that we get to see another one. This channel, by the way, that we're floating around in is really, really good for birds, and that's why we come here. It's to have a look for rare birds, and so far, just in the couple of minutes that we've been here, we've managed to see one rare resident, a bird that I have only seen twice before in the last 20 years, and a bird I've never even realized existed, another type of gallinule. So let's see if we can pick this one up. These water lilies have been blown here with the wind, so all their leaves are up because the wind this morning was actually quite strong. It's died down now, but it has left the leaves in a bit of disarray, and it'll take another wind and it'll take them sorting themselves out. So let's see. All right. In the meantime, while we wait for this bird to come out, let's show you another bird that is also fantastically well adapted at walking around on these lily pads. That's an African jacana. We're going to show you it now. And they have got enormous feet. And what I'm hoping for is that it lifts its leg for you and shows you what I mean by long toes. Sorry, Kirsty, would you just repeat that? Atticus, you'd like to know if these birds can fly. They absolutely can fly, Atticus. They fly really, really well. Both the lapwings and this African jacana fly really well. The only problem is that their feet drag them down. They've got these huge feet. Have a look at those toes on that bird. Can you see them? Oh, we're busy having a look at a hippo. Hold on. We've got everything happening over here. We've got hippo coming out of the water. Look at that enormous animal. Wow, that is as big as a small car. So I want you all in your classroom to sit there and see how many of you can make the shape of a small car. That is as big as a hippo. And you can just hear this jacana is upset about something. He's not having a fun day. Something is upsetting him immensely. And he's busy calling it something. I don't know what that is. Oh, here comes a jacana here across the water. Sorry, Dave, I'm sending you from pillar to post here. Have a look at these jacanas. Kari, I'm going to answer your question in a little bit about how many eggs these jacanas lay. I think they lay about 4 to 6 eggs, but while I'm busy finding the answer to that, just have a look at the massive toes and the way that they walk on the water, spreading their weight with their toes. That's what you want to have a look at. And there we go, all together. That is obviously a baby, and Daddy, not Mommy, Daddy came back to feed it. Isn't that just awesome? A big welcome home. So now we know why he was moaning about. He was moaning because he was hungry. That's actually very cool. I'm going to be answering your question now. Atticus, give me 1 second. And of course, because I want to find out, my book doesn't say. Atticus, I don't know. I can't answer your question about how many eggs they do. All I can say is that the male jacana is the one that lays the eggs. In fact, I'm going to take a guess to answer your question. I'm going to say that they lay 2 eggs, 1 to 2 eggs. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because Dad needs to keep the babies warm in the water. And what he does is he picks his babies up underneath his wings and he lifts them off of the water and he stands the whole night and stands with them outside the water. Oh, there we go. What's happening? Oh, here we go. So I'm going to change what I've said about it being a baby. How to get it wrong. So that's obviously a male, and the one that's arriving is a female. And he's built a nest. So here my whole story is going to change, which is going to completely confuse everybody. Okay? So what's happened is the smaller bird is the male. He's built himself a nest, and a female has walked along, and she now needs to come and inspect the nest to see if she wants to lay an egg on that nest. And that's how the jacana's nests look. And the male, he's the one that builds the nest and also looks after the babies. Just like I said just now, the female, she's going to lay an egg and she's going to move off. And you can see how much bigger the female bird is to the male. Now, initially, remember I said that the bigger one that came along was the father and the smaller one was the baby, and he came to feed, but obviously made a mistake. Easy to do out here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to see if she lays an egg. All right, while we're waiting for her to decide what she wants to do, why don't we go and have a look at the sausage tree pride with Isaac.
Yeah, welcome back. I hope you're still learning and you have learned more about lion, hippos, and now I have a different angle. You can see how many there are. There, the 3 adults, and there's a little youngster to the right, facing right. He is about 5 months old. At 5 months, yes, and the little youngster to the right there is still very dependent on its mother's milk, so it is drinking. But right now there is not enough milk because the mothers haven't eaten for a few days, and that's why they are not usually, when they have eaten, they breathe much faster and they try and find shade. Right now I can tell they haven't eaten for quite a good number of days. These particular lions, we know them, we call them the sausage tree pride, and Ella, thank you very much, Ella, for your question. You asked if male or female take care of the young ones. Mostly it's the female that takes care of the young one. As you can tell here, it's only the females that are with the young ones. The male, all he does is make sure that they are safe. He goes around the territory making sure that no intruders come into this territory. And so he puts his urine, like we call it scent marking, in different areas, and that, you know, by urinating in different bushes and rocks and trees, he tells the others that, you know, this area belongs to him and nobody else should come. So they are protected by the male, but the females are the ones that take great care of the young ones. I was telling you about the sausage tree pride. They are made up of 5 females and 10 cubbies, 10 cubs of different ages. 2 of them are around 6 months, 1 is around 5 months, and then we have 4 that are about, you know, 7 weeks. That is just, you know, or heading towards actually about 8 weeks, about just over 2 months, and then we have 3 that are about, you know, 4 weeks only. So they are all 10, and then we have 2 males that don't hang around very much. So that is the whole sausage tree pride members. There are about 15 including 2 males, 17. We count only the ones we see the most, and these are the ones. And Michael, AG, and Mark, you asked me how big does a lion get? Very good question. It's always nice to have comparison of size. A big male weighs about 250 kilos, that is around 500 pounds, if that's what you use to count, and a female weighs almost half that, which is around 120. It's around 250 pounds. So it is like a huge human, a big human. I don't think we have very many people of that size, but it's a very big animal. It is big. It's like 3 humans for a full-grown lion. Young ones are very, very small. They're like only about maybe 200 grams at birth. Very, very small. They're like your usual big stick that you eat when you do barbecue. That's how how big they are. They're very small. But although females weigh those 250 pounds, they are very strong. They are like 4 human beings. The strength of 4 human beings. That's how strong they are. And their body is full of muscle. You don't want to wrestle or cuddle a lion. It is very dangerous. Although we know them and we have given them names, we don't get out of the vehicle or even try and walk towards them. We never do that because they are very, very dangerous. Sean, thank you very much for your question. You asked me how many cubs can be born at the same time. I think the most that had been born and recorded were about 5, but it is very, very rare. Normally it is 4, and 4 is a good number because there won't be that big competition in suckling, because a mother has got only 4 mammary glands. So if she gives birth to 4, then each cub has got a mammary gland. So 4, I would say it's the best number that they give birth to. 4 is the most, although 5 has been recorded. 4 is the most. Brilliant. I don't know if I got your question right, but I don't know if you asked me why they sit in a group. For these cats to succeed, they need each other, and so because they hunt a big game, because they are not as fast as the small antelopes, they need each other, so they have to stay in what we call a pride. And lions are the only true social cats that we get in the world. All the other cats don't mingle, they don't stay together. Only lions, and this is the reason they need each other. It is very difficult to survive by yourself when you have very many cubs out here in the plains. You need to have fellow pride members. You need other pride members to survive. Well, just to take give you a different side of the lions, Sydney has got a big male lion which is totally different from these ones.
I am still here with the lions, and now I'm introducing you to a different lion from what you saw earlier. If you can check this lion we are seeing now nicely, you will see quite a lot of hairs there coming down the side of the neck. And the one we saw earlier, it was not having that. So this is the male lion. The female lion. So this one is having this very big mane so that it can look very much larger in order to scare the other males. You can see the hairs are very nice and dark. Hayden, the male lions, if you can check, this mane, it starts from when they're about 2 years and above. When they are starting to get to 2 years, they are going to start showing the little bit of hairs coming out, starting to cover here by the front. And as they're growing, you will see the mane growing. When they're about 4 years, 5 years, you will see it looking very big. But when they're above 5 years, that is when it will be very impressive. And you can see that it's a very big cat. Remember, this is the largest cat here in African wild. So normally at night, Jaron, that is quite a very interesting question, and I am going to answer it in two different ways. One, we have got the lions we find walking just by themselves. Those we call them solitary lions. So the solitary lions, you'll find just one male by himself. Sometimes you will find what is called a coalition, where you'll find a group of 2 males, 3 males normally. And those ones, normally they do target some of the smaller prey, such as the impalas. But when there is a pride is where you will have the females walking together with the cubs. Those ones, normally, they do target the big animals because they are in big numbers and they want everybody to get satisfied from the food. So, how much food do the lions eat a day? So these kind of animals, they don't eat every day. What happens here is that they go out for feeding, and after that they consume much as 30 to 40 kilograms a day. So after that, they must have to go and then lie down for long hours, as I have indicated. So lions, unfortunately, they don't have to eat every day. I can promise you, if lions were to eat every day, the population of other animals was going to go very much low. But nature is too clever. There is a very interesting balance between these animals who eat other animals and the population of animals who got eaten. So now, let's cross over to one of my friends.
Have a look at one of Africa's most iconic birds. Right here we have the African fish eagle, and very similar to the North American bald eagle, in fact, except that the bald eagle is a bit more robust, a bit bigger, chunkier. The African fish eagle, just as adept at catching fish though, and there are lots of pairs on this beautiful river. This particular one is in the top of this tree, and I think it's got a full crop. I just want to see. What I mean by full crop is, if you have a look at its, so difficult to tell from this angle, but if you have a look in the center of its white chest, there is basically an enlargement of its throat, and they keep fish inside there before moving the fish down into the tummy, and you can see when they're full because it sticks out. Quite often when you see fish eagles just roosting in the tree, that's what they're doing. Looks good out there, hey? That's a fish eagle. Very iconic call. You hear them all over the place. Very short tail, broad wings, and on the bottom of their feet, because fish obviously have slime on them, the bottom of their feet have got fins. Now, the only thing that I've ever seen that comes anywhere close to looking like the bottom of an eagle's foot is the bottom of a gecko's foot. And they also, it increases surface area. So imagine this is my hand. If I were to increase the surface area of my skin, what I'd need to do is either split my fingers in half or make folds in my skin. That would make the surface area of my skin a lot bigger, and then it would give me the ability to stick through friction onto slippery surfaces. And that's how geckos walk on the glass and stick to your ceiling, and that is how fish eagles and bald eagles catch their fish, and the fish doesn't slip out of their their claws. Now, Carter, you'd like to know how big fish eagles get? A male will be about this big, and a female's just slightly bigger. So they're not one of the largest eagles that we have out here. The Marshall eagle is a little bit larger. Steppe eagle is a little bit larger. Tawny eagle, I think, is larger. It might be the same size, around about. So it's about the 3rd or 4th largest eagle that we found out here. But definitely one of the more common eagles. In fact, on river courses like this, it would be the most common eagle that we see here, with a pair every couple of dozen meters or so. Now, Cameron, you want to know how many fish it can eat? That's a clever question there, Cameron. I suppose it depends on the size of the fish. The eagle can only really eat so many before its tummy is full, and if it catches lots of small fish, it'll eat lots. If it catches one big fish or finds one big fish, it'll only eat one or even just a portion of that. Now, it's not uncommon for fish eagles to catch a fish that's so big that they can't actually take off with it. And then you find these fish eagles, in fact, swimming, holding the fish in their claws, swimming to the shore, flapping their wings and using them as paddles. Isn't that just fantastic? There, it should come into the open there now, a little bit better for you. You can see that very hooked beak in silhouette. Oh, you can't see it now because he's facing to us. Very hooked beak to tear off chunks of flesh from the fish. Ooh, Isaiah, you want to know how fast they fly and dive into the water and catch their fish. Isaiah, they look for fish that are close to the surface. Then they fly quite high and fast, and they come in at an angle, and then they swoop the fish off of the surface of the water. So you're going to have to go and look for a video of a fish eagle catching a fish to understand what I'm saying. But they swoop in, they then extend their claws, those big claws that you can see on the branch. They extend them forward in front of them. So they flare open their wings, they stick out their claws like this, they grab the fish, and then they put the fish behind them and they flap and they take off. And they then fly to the closest tree that they can. And will try and eat. And if the fish is too heavy, they'll just get onto the bank and they will put the fish on the bank, and they don't mind eating fish standing on the floor. Now, they don't only eat fish, they also eat birds. In some areas of Botswana and Zambia, they have been known to catch flamingos, believe it or not. Taylor, you'd like to know where their nest is. They nest in the tops of trees, Taylor. So this particular tree doesn't have any fish eagle nest in it, but I'm sure that as we go on through the afternoon, and if you carry on watching Safari Live, we'll be able to show you a fish eagle nest. But in the trees next to the river is the answer to your question, Taylor. And they build a big nest out of a bunch of sticks, and then they sit on top of that, the male and the female, with the female bigger than the male. And she's bigger than the male because she needs to build an egg, and that takes a lot of calcium from her body, and so she needs to be big so that she can put some of the calcium in her body into the eggs, and is bigger than the male. How's that? Completely camouflaged behind this tree. This is a jackalberry tree, or an African ebony tree, one of the favorite trees of fish eagles. The reason for that is they have these really cool branches that are quite high up, and so the eagles can drop out of the tree, swoop down, and catch their fish in the water, and then fly back up again. And pairs of fish eagles, when they fight with one another, it's the most spectacular thing. Male and, well, it's courtship and it's fighting. They'll hit each other with their claws, they then bind their claws, and then they swoop around with each other all the way down, close to the floor, and then they'll let go just at the last minute and then fly back up again. Really spectacular display. All right, we're going to carry on looking for something exciting, and we'll catch up with you in a little bit.
Yes, welcome back. I hope you have learned something about male lion and fish eagle. A very beautiful bird. I hope you appreciated it. And here you are, back to the lions. What are they doing now? They are sleeping, and lions sleep for up to 18 hours of a day. If they have eaten, they'll sleep for 15 to 20 hours every day. Nathan, you asked me, or if I got you right, how many lions are in a pride. It differs, and I'll tell you two differences of where there is scarcity of food, maybe in a desert, and here where I am. Here in the Masai Mara, prides can be as big as almost 30. And what determines the size of a pride is availability of food. If there is enough food, then females will produce lots of young ones, so the prides get very, very big. But if you go to other areas, like in very dry areas in other countries, like northern Kenya, in my country, or yes, Elisa, I'll come back to your question, and then you go to Botswana or Namibia. There, because there's scarcity of food, you'll find that there is only one male and maybe two lionesses. So it differs with the food. And Elisa, you asked me, how long does a lion live? In the wild is around 15 years only, and in captivity around 20. And in captivity they have an easy life, and but over here it is 15 years. And those 15 years, it's like living 60 years for us, because every day is very tough being out here. Everything, being a lion is very hard, to kill anyone, because everybody is running away from you, they're watching you. It's really tough. There is competition from hyenas and other lions, so a day can be sometimes very, very long. And that's why when they're comfortable, they rest this much. Although they're very sleepy like this, you don't want to walk towards one or surprise one. They can jump from 0 to 60 kilometers an hour in just 3 seconds. So you don't want to surprise one, and that's why we're quite a distance away, and we never try to get close to any one of them. Here you can tell there is no problem. Everybody is trying to conserve energy, hoping that the darkness will come, because they are much more successful. They are much more successful at night, so they are waiting maybe for the night when they'll go hunting. Okay, let me send you to Steve, who's got something different for you guys.
Have a look at what we've managed to find in the roots of this tree, very close to where that fish eagle was lying. That's a monitor lizard, and is the longest lizard that we find here. The only thing bigger than that on the water here is a crocodile. But that is the longest lizard that lives on the land that we have here. That's a young one. That's not even very old. I would say that lizard is about 3 to 5 years old, and they will grow at least twice to 3 times that length before they get older. And that young lizard was born inside a termite mound. Its mom dug a hole in the side of a termite mound after the rains made the mud nice and soft. She then laid her eggs inside the termite mound, because inside a termite mound is warmer than anywhere else. And the eggs, they developed much quicker because of that, because of her ingenuity. And then this youngster came out, and it was about as long as its tail, about as long as your forearm. Tyler, the biggest lizard that I've seen is bigger than you are. So if you stood up and you went to the wall and you drew a mark on the wall, ask your teacher to do that, and you measured that, the longest lizard that I've ever seen is taller than you are at the moment. Big, eh? 9 feet. That's how big the longest lizard, taller than me even, by a whole 2 feet. So a proper dragon. And the longest animal, or the longest lizard, crocodilian lizard that I've ever seen, is probably about 5 meters or 15 feet big. Now, ask your teacher to go and draw a 9-foot mark on the wall, if the wall is tall enough, in the corridor perhaps, and then on the floor, or on the floor would actually be a good idea, and then do 15 feet, and that is the largest crocodile that I've seen. Massive, massive, massive animals. That was quite a special sighting, I must be honest with you. And the reason being is they're normally quite shy. McLean, you'd like to know if their tails fall off that like other lizards do. That when they do that, that's called autotomy, and these lizards do not have a tail that can fall off if they get a big fright. That is for smaller lizards. These lizards really need their tails. They swim with their tails, and this type of environment is where they live, and so they couldn't afford not to have a tail. That was very nice to see, in fact. Now you can see in this tree, Dave, there's some grass in the tree. Can you see the tree with the grass in it? Right here. Now, kids, this is the end of the dry season. The flood waters are about to come. They will be here in the next 3 weeks and will last for another 8 weeks or so. And when the flood comes, the water is where you find this grass right now. So that last year's flood deposited that grass inside this tree, and that is how much more water comes down this river. Now I'll stand up so that you can see how much more water is going to come. We're at water level, and at my head height is where this water is going to be. That's how much more water is going to be here. I want you to think, have a look out there, and take a water level where we are now, out there, and see how much water is going to be coming. This was put here by flood water. Quite cool, eh? Very, very nice. All right, we're going to be sending you all the way south to the Kruger National Park now, where Sydney has a male lion for you.
You can see that the male lion is now scratching against that little tree which is growing behind him. He must be having some of the parasites, because these animals inside the hairs, they do carry a lot of parasites, including some of the fleas. So he has been battling for a while now, scratching against that tree at the back there. So it's a clear indication that the parasites must be biting him or moving around. The male lions, they do scare the females sometimes because they have got this very nice and loud roar. You will hear them doing something like that is when the males are trying to advertise their presence in their territory. What is a territory? A territory is an area which is marked by the males to say, here is where I'm staying together with my family. So all the males that are doing that, they've got females and the calves that are staying in there. So they are responsible of the protection of everybody. That is why when the females, sometimes when you see them threatened, you must know that it means the males, they are not happy with something. So, but some of the females, when the males are making that kind of a roar, they like it because they know it means we are under a full protection. So the lion who doesn't roar really does give the females some challenges because the safety is not guaranteed. But when it's roaring, the other ones, they feel safe within that kind of a pride. So you can see that these lions now is very much hot, and normally this is what they do. They prefer to sleep. And now this is leading us to the end of a very lovely school drive. And most of all, thank you very, very much for all your questions and comments. Hopefully, we will meet you again. To those of you who are just joining us now, a very, very good afternoon and welcome to the beginning of the Normal Game Drive. This is Sydney Fumurani Mikosi, and I'm traveling with Senzo, who is my camera operator, as well as Toli, who has just joined us this afternoon. We are here by the western side of the Greater Kruger National Park in Juma, and I have got a very lovely mating pair. Here, something interesting has been going on. The male that we are seeing there now has got a female, and this female is on a distance of about 10 meters apart. Female is just leaving her sleeping spot to come and do a mating ritual or mating dance in order to convince a male to mate. We have seen that happening right now. This is so amazing, and we are going to be here for quite a while. Yes, their resting is hot at the moment. The female, she is not considering the temperature at the moment. She is not worried about these high temperatures. Every time she is interested on this male, she's leaving her spot, coming back to the male and talk to him so that he can do what he knows best when it comes to the breeding activities. So I have seen that the male that we are watching now has got quite a lot of scratches on his face. So those scratches are a sign that this one is a fighter. For the lions, for them, in order to have access to mate, there is quite a lot of fighting, and some of these fightings can be very much vicious. And they can even kill each other from fighting. Look at that. So you can see that now he is listening to what I'm saying, or he is listening to what is happening on the surrounding. He has to be very much inquisitive because sometimes competition does get very high when a female is on heat. While we are waiting to see what is going to happen, I am going to send you very far, Botswana, where Steph is by the Chobe National Park. Now, as I'm talking to you, he's with the elephants.
I'm coming down to drink on the bank of the river, and we've just caught them as they come out of the bush. With while drinking this wanted so. This is a herd of elephant. Now we've got a bit of a signal problem in this particular area, so you will apologize. Oh, I will apologize right now, and you will excuse us, please, for that. We are coming to you live right now from the Chobe River in northern Botswana, and the odd glitch in signal is expected. But these elephant, the last time that they drank might have been yesterday, and they've come down out of the forest thirsty, and are just piling the water into their trunks. Now, the reason why we're not driving too close just yet is because they haven't drunk for the whole day, and if for some reason they are a bit more skittish, if we were to just drive right up to them and they then walked away, we could completely disturb them, and that's not really what we want to do. So we're just going to let them drink a little bit, and then we gauge their mood and we gauge what they're doing, and then we'll start the boat again and we'll move a little bit closer and we'll see if we can get a little bit closer. Right now the wind has picked up and is blowing us actually away from the elephant. Let's see if now that they've had something to drink, they have a bath. Wouldn't it be spectacular if they had a bath right here by us? Blue water, green grass, blue sky, green trees, white teeth. Really quite cool. Rosalind, you'd like to know how many elephants are by the Chobe River. Rosalind, in the Chobe National Park, there are 50,000 elephant, and in Botswana, there are 135,000 elephants. How many elephants are exactly on the Chobe River is dependent on the season. Right now, this is the wet season, full of grass, and there are puddles of water lying out in the bush, and so you don't have a lot of elephant coming down to the river. But by October, September, October, thousands of elephant will be on the Chobe River. And by thousands, I mean 20 or 30,000 elephant will be on this stretch of the river. Now, a lot of you this morning saw quite a disturbing sight of a young ellie with something wrong with it. We don't know what was wrong with it, but it had something wrong with it, and it was turning around in circles. I just want to reassure you that we came back about an hour later and the elephant had moved off, and so it either got over what was wrong with it, or it managed to move off into an area where we couldn't see it. But the other reassurance that I want to give you is that an elephant conservation group was on site. They had their researchers on site and they'd been told about it, and they were monitoring the situation. So while I don't have any more information for you than that, I can reassure you that we didn't see the elephant an hour later, and that's a good thing. And that secondly, the elephant conservationists were on site with their scientists. And I had a look with my binoculars into the car, and it was a very somber group of people inside that car. It's a very serious. Serious scientists are always doing the best things. So we're going to try and get a little bit closer. The wind is playing havoc with us. We have got a sun shield over the boat, and it acts like a bit of a sail. And so when the wind blows, we blow all over the place, and it gets a little bit difficult to see these elephants. But in actual fact, we've got more than one herd of elephants here. We've actually got this group here, which would be one herd, head up by a matriarch, and then behind them we have got another herd as well. So hopefully we get to see two herds of elephant. Excuse me while I just call Kirsty back. We're using cell phones here, and my leg managed to switch the phone off, and so Kirsty's going to come back. Well, hello. There we go, they're having a bath. Look at that. So the youngsters are lying down in some mud. That's exactly what we wanted to see. So now that they've slaked their thirst and are still relaxed, we are getting to see them having a bath. Now, Fancy Cheetah, you'd like to know if these are forest elephants. No, these are just the normal African or savanna elephant, Loxodonta africana, or the cusp-toothed African elephant, and so not the forest elephant, which is one slightly different and that you find in the tropical forests of Central Africa. Here comes the next herd. Here comes the next herd at the top there. I don't think that they'll be drinking in the same place. I can't imagine that they would. But it's not uncommon for herds to be within a couple of dozen yards of one another, all on this river frontage, and all having the best time. So there's a bit of a mud wallow there. Puma, you'd like to know if it's true that elephants hunt, that lions hunt elephants along the Chobe River. Puma, you're not too far from the truth, except that it's not on the Chobe River, it's in the Savuti Marsh, which is part of the Chobe National Park. So in Savuti, which lies on the other side of the Chobe National Park, so south of where we are now, south and a little bit west, is an area called the Savuti Marsh. There are a lot of elephant there and large prides of lion, and those prides of lion do hunt full-grown elephant. Here, on the banks of the Chobe River, I've never heard of it, but there are large prides of lion here, and because it gets so hot, and because this is the Kalahari, look at that female just going, no, thank you. Stop being a pain and push you into the water. Now, we've got other boats on the river with us. It's not an exclusive place, the Chobe River, very similar to the Mara Triangle. There's lots of people that have boats and come for safaris, and have tourists that come for safaris. You yourself could book a boat cruise out of one of the hotels and enjoy exactly what we're seeing here relatively easily. Just look at this one having a mud bath. So now, once they've slaked their thirst and the dehydration problem is taken care of, they can cool down. And they cool down by spraying their back of their ears, where all their blood vessels are, to cool them down, with water and mud. And then by spraying their skins with mud, the water evaporates and that cools them down, but it also adds a protective layer of mud for any biting insects and parasites. And I think it must feel so fantastic to have a mud bath. I think this elephant's probably going to lie down. You can see how they're kicking the mud, kicking the bank to loosen the mud up, sucking the mud up in the trunk. Nice question, Becky. You've asked what animals are we likely to see here that we won't see in Djuma and the Mara. Becky, sable antelope comes to mind in the forefront. And then there is an endemic bushbuck that lives here called the Chobe bushbuck. It looks exactly the same as the bushbuck that you'd see in the Mara or rarely in the Mara or at Djuma, except that it's a lot redder with much bolder white markings on it. And it's because the Chobe River is a unique feature. There's almost no valleys, no rivers joining the Chobe River for hundreds of kilometers in any direction. So bushbuck have come along the river. And when you come along the river and you are using the population behind you to seed populations in front of you, you can go through some evolutionary changes, some basic evolutionary changes through inbreeding. And that inbreeding has now made a different subspecies of bushbuck called the Chobe bushbuck. And the Chobe bushbuck in turn is quite endangered, mainly because elephant numbers in the Chobe National Park have increased dramatically, and they've had a drastic effect on the vegetation next to the river, and there's not the habitat left anymore for the Chobe bushbuck. So they do occur in isolated pockets. In fact, David and I saw one this morning walking down to come and join you, so they are around. I mean, we've only been here for 2 days and we managed to see one. There's the other elephant herd in the background there. They're very respectful of one another, elephant. One herd won't come and drink at another herd. They stand a little bit of a distance apart. And that back herd of elephant might be exactly the same as this herd that came down. They could also only have drunk yesterday last. And today's been a really hot day. They could have walked far. But because elephants are so respectful of one another, they didn't just rush in. They waited a little bit for the elephant in front of them to finish drinking, and then they came down, even though they've got kilometers of river frontage over here. And now they're moving off. Mud wallow done. You might find that these elephant, the second group of elephant, are waiting for the same mud puddle. Kirsty tells me that all of you are saying that this is so awesome. I agree. It is properly awesome. Now they're joining. There's some kudu in the background there as well, some female kudu. Wow, look at that. Isn't that awesome? Large group of elephant. Definitely is not one herd of elephant. You probably find that the two old matriarchs are sisters with one another, and they've joined their herds together. The two oldest cows will be matriarchs of their own herds. Wow. That boat, that's exactly what it looks like where we are right now. Debbie, you've asked if it's a challenge for David to film on the river. Today, it's a challenge for David to film on the river. Yesterday and this morning, not so much. And the reason is that the wind creates a choppiness, which makes it difficult. The boat's always moving, and it is quite difficult, especially when the subject is small. But as you can see from the shot that you've got now, David's doing a fantastic job of giving you the best view possible with the equipment that we have. And luckily, the wind has died down, and there's not too many waves, and it isn't blowing our sailing ship around here a lot. So it's sort of like a mixture between filming on bushwalk and filming on a vehicle. We haven't quite decided yet which one it's closest to be honest with you. Now comes the other herd to drink. So you can see now that the wet elephant have moved to the back and the dry elephant have moved to the front. So the herds have split now. The two sisters taking their families apart, and oh, just look at that. I mean, that must be the most glorious mouthful of water that you can imagine. Refreshing to the nth degree. Let's see if they come in for a swim. Elephants have favorite swimming spots. You can just hear them sloshing in the water there. Notice, pick an elephant and watch the elephant. They won't stick their trunk deep into the water. They just take the surfaced water. That is the cleanest water. And they lie their trunk along the top of the water and then slurp in the water. So watch an elephant. moving, they flap the dust and the debris out of the way and then suck up the cleanest water. Elephants are very particular about the quality of the water that they drink. Given the opportunity to, they'll even dig for water rather than taking dirty water. But this Chobe water is beautiful. Brenda, you'd like to know if I've noticed missing tails and trunks like we have in the Mara so often. Brenda, yes, I've noticed one elephant this morning with a half tail. We haven't been here long enough for me to really make a fair appraisal on that. I can say though that the elephant that I've seen so far, and we've probably seen about 40 to 50 elephant, with the exception of one, have all been perfect. In fact, even these elephants, there's one swimming, a youngster. Two swimming. Look at him on his side. Look. In the middle, Dave. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Having a proper splash. Shame, eh? It looks like the best water. It looks, when elephant come into water, it honestly looks like it's their favorite place. Like they haven't seen water in a whole month, and this is the best water they've ever seen in their whole life. All of them flapping their ears to cool themselves down. Elephant generate a massive amount of metabolic heat, and the sun here is intense. And so those ears are helping them cool down, and you'll notice that as soon as the thirsts are slaked, the very next thing that they do is they splash those radiators. Just look at that young Ellie there. He is having a proper swim. Head under, rolling around. Nature girl, will crocodiles not attack these Ellies? It's not uncommon. It's rare, but it's not uncommon for crocodiles to have a go at young elephant. But I would say that with the amount of elephant that come down to this river and the amount of incidents that you hear about, that it's highly unlikely that we will get to see that. Oh, they're going for a swim. Even the big ones are swimming. I'm not even joking to you that when we got into the boat today, the first and only thing that Emily asked to see was a swimming elephant. And so, well done, Em. Well done, Kaza. We've got a few others on the boat with us today. And seeing elephants swimming in the Chobe River is just one of those things that you only really ever see pictures of. And to experience this live, firstly, and with you, secondly, is really special. To be here in the flesh is also just a remarkable privilege. You think that they swim a little longer. There's two there having a proper swim with each other. So we're just busy maneuvering the boat, which is all the sound that you're hearing coming up from here. These boats, just like our Land Rovers, do take an immense battering with the waves and everything that they get forced into. And so there are a few rattles and squeaks, and, we can forgive them for that. Here comes an old bull, or a youngish bull, actually, excuse me. Not an old bull, a bull elephant in his middle to late teens. He's been trailing behind the group, and he will come and have his swim after the rambunctious kids have finished at his leisure, and then follow the herd out wherever they're going to go. But now we've got 4 elephants. There we go, having a swim. Look at that. Now the wind has picked up, so it's going to be shifting us around a bit, so it is going to move a bit. All right, we've just included some more of you onto what the sighting is that we're having at the Chobe River here, northern Botswana, on the border between Namibia and Botswana. We've got 2 herds of elephant, and they've both come down to the river to drink, and we are enjoying them swimming, which is all we really wanted to see today. This was the mission today, to come and find some elephants, come and find some elephant swimming, and voila, we have some elephant swimming for you. And I don't know if they're going to get all the way in. I'm hoping that they get all the way into the water and come for a swim out into the channel. Elephants are really good swimmers. They don't need to stand. And in fact, they can even submerge completely and stick their trunks out. Nikki, you asked, can elephants cross the entire river? Absolutely. They can swim dozens of kilometers out. Look at this one going into the water. That's how deep the water is. Wow. It actually shelves quite amazingly. Or is he sitting down? I don't know. Judging from those babies that we can see over there, I would imagine that this elephant on the left is actually sitting down and just splashing himself while he's busy sitting on a sandbank. Oh, look, they're going to start playing with each other. And there he goes under the water like a submarine. Throwing their heads around. A proper game. Marky, you say this is amazing. It is amazing, you know, Marky. It's actually quite rare to see elephants swimming like this, to be honest with you. It's not a common sight to see lots of elephant in the water, especially not in the, well, I mean, it's, you know, why not? Here comes this big guy. I've lost Kirsty again. He's also torpedoing. That is so cool. I mean, that is an enormous animal. There's that one elephant was under, he was blowing some bubbles with his trunk. There on the far left-hand side, he's going to disappear. Let's see, he's going to do a tumble turn. Gone. Whole elephant, there he sticks his head out again. Yes, isn't that the best thing? Kirsty says that you're saying thank you for bringing this to you. It is our pleasure to bring this to you. It's honestly, it's not. It really is our pleasure, our privilege to do it. And so glad that you can share it where you are. So that big guy, he's now come into the water. He's slaking his thirst as well. That's not a full-grown male elephant. He's still a teenager, late teens, I would imagine, probably somewhere between 17 and 20 years old. Not a big elephant at all. There's one giving a big trumpet. I wonder how long this guy's going to go. Bocom, you say, wow, you're watching this from Botswana. Okay, that's good news. Now what's happening? That one now is kicking with his back legs. This other elephant is just completely submerged, sitting on his bum. Look at this, it's just an elephant's head out of the water. I almost feel like I want to punch the sky and go, yes, we've done it. There he goes, gone. 4-ton elephant, upside down. See this one there? Let's have a look at this elephant. There's an elephant there, I promise. That's his back. And here he goes. This is the big guy that came running in last. Let's see what he does. I'm actually quite amazed at how deep the channel is. I was expecting it to be there we go, someone getting disciplined. This is just so cool. Here's another elephant on the bank, also a young male. There's a good chance that these two young males actually, there he goes under the water, goodbye. It's a song about a yellow submarine. Blowing it out, just cooling down, just really. We've got some more here, also turning circles. This is the most fantastic swim I've ever seen, to be honest with you. They're just having so much fun. Obviously vitally important for elephant to cool down. They can actually die of heat exhaustion, and in Botswana it's not uncommon to find elephant dead from dehydration, heat stress, heat stroke, and so being able to swim is just fantastic. Dina, you'd like to know if we ever see big cats here by the river? We absolutely do, Dina. Depending on the season, now in late summer, it's not that common to see lion or leopard on the side of the river. The vegetation is very thick, and the animals are quite dispersed. But as soon as the dry season comes, as soon as the animals start concentrating on these banks where, you know, food is scarce anyway, but this is where they're getting their hydration from, then we do pick up, or there is an increase. There he goes again. There is an increase in cat activity. But it is quite difficult to see. Look at that guy. It is quite difficult to see lion from the river, to be honest. There he goes. He did a backflip. Now he's doing a side flip. He did a full roll, that elephant, did he? Didn't see. That is just really cool. He's blowing some bubbles. They become very playful when they're in water, especially two males of a similar age will sometimes spend up more than an hour swimming with each other. Makeup girl, you'd like to know if there's any other pans and things deeper into the forest. That's a good question. The Savuti Marsh does have a little bit of water in, but it is, I want to say about 100 kilometers away, maybe 200 kilometers away. There will be little pans and springs inside the forest, but, you know, scattered few and far between. The sands of the Kalahari Basin, and the sand that has filled it over the last 180 million years or so is very, very deep, and there are not a lot of springs. There are springs do occur, but there are not a lot of them. And so water sources like the Chobe River and the Kavango River and the Okavango Swamp and the Zambezi River are really the only major sources of water. An elephant will walk up to 50 kilometers away from this river to find enough food during the day. So as the dry season progresses and the food close to the river runs out, the elephants have to range further and further away to a point where they don't even bother walking anymore. And in October, you just have elephant the whole day just standing next to this river and just waiting for the rains to come, just waiting for that vegetation to come back, because the amount of vegetation needed to sustain them costs more from a metabolic point of view to go and get 50 kilometers away than it would be just relying on your body's reserves. Let's see what these guys are going to do. I have a feeling, let's hold thumbs, and these guys the big guy will come and let his friend come and swim. Now, I just want to say thank you to all of our viewers that hopped on board. Thank you for joining us for this, and we'll see you again next time. Now, what we might find is that this young male with the broken tusks actually gets into the water with a slightly bigger male. Look at them sizing each other. Yeah, that's just teenage hormones. Might have a bit of a wrestle. You can see that the one's tusks are beautiful and the other one's tusks are broken off and quite stubby. It's very common in Botswana. Funnily enough, we haven't seen much evidence of it in the last 2 days, but it's very common in Botswana to find elephant with broken tusks. Their tusks are quite brittle and can be quite short and broken off. And it's because of the vitamin deficiency in the vitamin deficiency in the vegetation here. They just don't get enough from this Kalahari bush, and so their tusks break off, and you don't get the long, beautiful ivory that you do in the Kruger National Park. The Kruger Park obviously has some of the elephants with the longest, most beautiful ivory. These two guys are having a wrestle with one another, as we thought they might do. Bless you. That wasn't a hippo. Let's see what they're going to do. I don't think they're going to have a proper wrestle with one another. I think if this youngster, the dry youngster, got into the water, we might be lucky and they'll start playing with each other in the water. But the herd has now had its swim, it's had its dust bath, it's had its mouthful of water, and they will now move off to go and find a place to feed in the late afternoon. They'll have a nice sleep this afternoon, spend the morning feeding tomorrow, and probably be back down at the river at some point in the afternoon tomorrow for a drink. If possible, elephant need to drink every day. They just like us. They can deteriorate very quickly without sufficient hydration. Really cool. Go away bird shouting in the distance. Now we're going to take our cue from that go away bird saying go away, and we're going to go away for a while. You are off to Isaac with the Sausage Tree Pride.
Welcome everybody to the Mara Triangle in the Masai Mara, and here I have members of the Sausage Tree Pride, all 5 females, but I cannot count how many cubs I do have. All of them look like they are gonna go for something tonight or later on, because everybody is on the lookout for the next meal. In case you're just joining us for the first time, my name is Isaac, and on camera I have Archie, and we have the Sausage Tree Pride. In the Mara at the moment, temperatures are about 28 degrees Celsius, and it's all perfect, good conditions for game viewing. Welcome once again. The Sausage Tree Pride are getting ready to do something. I don't know, what they're gonna go for tonight, but definitely they do need a meal. They haven't eaten a good meal for about more than 2 weeks. And these lionesses, we know them very well to be very good buffalo hunters. And the last one they had, it was about 2 weeks. They've been surviving on little meals of warthogs, because at this time of the year, it is the most abundant. Most other antelopes will leave the areas and find areas with shorter grass, making it difficult for these females, so they have to make do with only big game. That is one of the older cubs. He is around 6 months, and he is been following, the pride everywhere they've been going, and he is still, very dependent with milk. So, those days that they haven't eaten well, they've been drinking. Here you can tell that female is very focused on something. They can see much better than us, and looks like, who is that? Looks like it's Meaty. Looks like Meaty. She's usually got very box ears. I think it's her. And nice yawn. Super. Yeah, you don't want to get in between those teeth, because you won't live to tell the tale. Beautiful. Look at that. Very healthy looking. Janet, I didn't hear the whole question, but I had, if they hunted last night. No, they didn't hunt. They hunted about 3 days ago, but we don't know exactly what they ate, because I found them, and then my colleague David found them also. They had eaten, so we are not sure what they ate, but definitely it wasn't big, because we didn't come across the carcass. So they will need to find something quite soon, if not tonight, tomorrow, because all of them have cubs, and to produce milk they need to eat. So they will need to eat as soon as possible. Yeah, Kinky, the oldest lioness, is up and she's walking. That is Kinky Tail there. Yeah, that is the mother of all these females. We estimate, she's heading towards maybe around 8 years, but nobody's quite sure. And all the rest are her daughters, and they all have cubs. So the pride at the moment is getting big. This is what, the only time that, lions socialized, when they need each other. When eating, they can be rough towards each other. Remember to join me on Twitter at #SafariLive. You can watch us on YouTube live stream, or tell a friend to see this wonderful, amazing live broadcast straight from the Masai Mara. Yeah, while these guys start getting ready to head out, before they get very playful, let me send you to Steve, who's got a nice bird for you guys.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Buffelshoek Watering Hole. My name is Steve. I'm joined by Sebastian. Well, the Chobe seems to be stealing the show this afternoon. We've been driving around for ages. And, well, obviously we haven't been as exciting or interesting as Steph on the boat. Of course. How exciting is it to have him out there on the Chobe, just listening to all of the elephants doing their thing? priceless, priceless. Let's go and have a look at some beautiful birds. We've got the spoonbill on the right over there. So I was talking this morning about how when I was in Luwandi in Malawi in the Shire River, which is pretty similar, I suppose, to the Chobe River, one of those very permanent, fast-flowing waters, and the boat cruises we did there were incredible. You could get right up close and personal with the ellies. It was really something very, very special. Excuse me, very, very special indeed. So I'm a little bit jealous of Steph at the moment, but if it works out, which I hope it will, maybe we'll all be rotating out and going to Chobe. I've never been to northern Botswana. Well, everybody, bearing in mind we are interactive and we'd love to hear from you. How about, I don't know if Steph has prompted one, let's do a one-word tweet on your thoughts on the Chobe. One-word tweet, #SafariLive, on your thoughts of the boat trips on the Chobe. Send them through and let's get a little bit of an idea of what all of you back home are thinking. No doubt very excited to be seeing a new environment. And I must admit, it is also lovely to see Steph on the other side of the camera again. I was talking to him the other day and he's like, I haven't been on the camera in a year. I don't know if I remember how to do it. And I just had to laugh at him. It's like a bicycle, isn't it? It's like a bicycle. And here we've got the yellow-billed stork. Very deliberate movements through the water. Very red face with a long yellow beak. Looking for any movements of any aquatic insects or bird or fish, frogs. Oh wow, we just watched a kill, everybody. How incredible. Now that's what's amazing. Holly was talking about how the beaks of these birds are almost like sandpaper. I mean, I've watched kingfishers stand on a branch and basically just flip a fish around and flip it around and swallow and try swallow and then flip it around. And have you ever tried to deal with a fish in your hands? They are so slippery. So all these birds do have to have a very, very well adapted beak so as to be able to hold whatever it is that they catch in the water. And then they still need to be able to flick it back into their mouth, bearing in mind that none of these birds have got teeth. That animal, that organism, generally goes straight into their crop, still moving and wriggling around inside of the animal's neck area. It must be the weirdest feeling in the world to put a live organism inside your throat pouch, the crop, where it will eventually get sort of crushed by potentially some muscular action, or the crop actually is not where the muscular action is, that's where it gets stored, but later on when it goes through the gizzard, there's a muscular movement there, whereby whatever it is that goes in gets crushed up, squashed, and then obviously goes through the digestive system. The crop working, or the gizzard working very much like our teeth. Yvette, you say magnificent about the Chobe, and I can't agree more. Please keep sending them through. Let's hear what the rest of you out there are saying about the Chobe. No doubt everyone is really excited for the possible new venture up there. Leanne, you say special. It is indeed special to be able to jump from the Masai Mara and the open plains to the fast or the medium slow pace moving waters of Chobe National Park, and then to come down here to Djuma, where, well, this time of year we are having a pretty quiet time of year because of the rain and the thickets. But the rain has blessed the Chobe with high waters. As we leave our heron, we're going to go back to the Chobe River to see what amazing birds and creatures Steph has got for you.
We have got something so amazing to show you. What you're having a look at there is my ugly face, but we'll go back to this nest here. This is a fish eagle's nest, and at the bottom of the fish eagle's nest is a huge African honeybee hive. You'll punch in there in a bit and you'll see that you'll punch in there and you'll see in a little bit that entire yellowy orange gold mass at the top of this jackalberry is a beehive, and just covered in countless thousands. Sound is done. How's that? So there's just something with the sound over here that's happened. Apparently you can still hear me on the ambient mic. So we're going to try and do that a little bit. So right now what we're going to do is just show you that beehive at the top there. Ah, we've got it all back. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I'm sitting too close to the edge of the boat or something. You'll excuse us for these small little exploratory foibles that we're finding out, you know, like don't sit too close to the aluminium boat because it switches off your microphone, while we have a look at that just absolutely astounding sighting. I've never seen an African beehive like that out in the open or as exposed as that. And I suppose when you're that size, when your colony is that size, what do you actually have to fear? And Kaiser was telling us that that beehive is only about a year old and already is at that size. It shows you what water lilies, how much nectar water lilies and all the grass here produces. Can you imagine? Honey is produced by bees mixing pollen with saliva and water, but over and over again letting it dry out, remixing it, dry out, remixing it, dry out. And so honey is a very viscous distillate really of nectar, saliva and water. And the bees feed their larvae on it. The larvae are kept inside a wax cell and fed on the honey. And as the beehive grows, more and more larvae are produced, and so more and more cells are made. And you can see that they build them in those fins. And that's because the hive must be kept at a very, at a decent temperature, very similar to how termite mounds are kept at a decent temperature. Beehives must be kept at a temperature, and those fins help to radiate out heat. Now, Penny Pine, you want to know if honey hunters will come and harvest this honey? It's unlikely, Penny Pine. The reason for that is that this is inside the Chobe National Park, and people are not allowed to harvest any natural-based products out of the Chobe National Park. It would be considered poaching, and we're very close to a police post, an outpost here, and so I think that these bees are probably about as safe as they can get, and I think that is contributing to its massive size. I mean, even from where we are now, we can hear it. If we're very quiet, you think, Dave, you'll be able to get the noise of the buzzing?
I can hear it.
David says that he can hear it, so I'll keep quiet now and just listen. So you can just hear it. Okay, I'll start talking again now. It's useless you all straining your ears to try and hear, and then I blast your eardrums away by coughing or sneezing or something. Isn't that just amazing? I've never seen a beehive that size. Not African bees, at least, anyway. In fact, I've never seen a beehive that size in person. I'm amazed at how it's holding on. You know, that thing must weigh 5 or 6 kilograms, maybe more. Janice, how long is this beehive? I would say it's probably about a meter, maybe just less than a meter, so 3 feet or so, 2.5 to 3 feet. And then another 2 feet wide at its widest point. And with many, many fins. And somewhere in there will be a single queen, and she would have laid all the bees that you're looking at now, she would have laid the eggs for. They're cased, similar to how termites and ants are cased. In other words, she decides that she needs to have worker bees, and worker bees are born, and she decides that she needs to have bees that tend her and her body, and they're born, and ones that tend or nursery bees, and then they are born. So wow. Oh, Laura Moore, you'd like to know if there's any bee eaters here? Yes, there are the honey guides, greater and lesser as far as I know. I'll double check that now. And then we also have lots of honey badgers here as well. So there'll be all the honey guides. I'll see if there's anything more. Let me just have a double check here. Honey guide 32. It's just a page in my book, not 32 different species. Right, so greater honey guide, definitely. And let's just see. Well-developed woodland of the scaly-throated honey guide. Looks like it occurs here. Or no, that doesn't occur here. Definitely lesser honey guide and brown-backed honey guide. Brown-backed honey guide we get here as well. So brown-backed honey guide, green-backed honey guide, green-backed honey guide. So here we go. Many more honey guides than I thought. So we've got the greater honey guide. That is the greater honey guide. We've got the lesser honey guide, which is that one. We've got the brown-backed honey guide, that one, and the green-backed honey guide. So of the 6 honey guides on the page, we have 4 of them that occur just here. Now, honey guides eat the larvae, the bee larvae, and to a degree the wax as well, but the bee larvae mostly. But because they really can't get into bee hives, they need, in some cases, humans and in some cases honey badgers to open the nests for them. In this particular case, I would imagine that if the honey guide is quick enough, you'd be able to pick up any scrap morsels that it could get. All right, we're going to carry on with our safari and see what's around the next corner. You never really know what is around the next corner here. In the meantime, we're going to be sending you back to those mating lines.
The mating pair is so very much tired at the moment, as you all know that they've got to mate for approximately 4 times an hour. If you can count that for about 5 to 6 consecutive days, it is going to be about more than 250 times. 250 times of mating, that is too much. So the males, the territorial life is difficult, because if another male comes here now, when he's tired like this, he is going to fight the intruder, and if the intruder wins the battle, the intruder is going to carry on with the female. Sometimes the females, they've got to be loyal, and sometimes they are not loyal. I am saying this because I know if there is some cubs and there is a new male coming in order to take over, they can go on what is called a false ostrus. Here is where the females are going to pretend as if they are on ostrus, just to keep the male busy so that they can protect their little ones. So you can see that here in the bush, life is so very much difficult. So you can see how that male is lying down, that he's opening the hind legs so that he can be able to expose the body for in case if there's fleas, so that the sun can be able to chase away the parasite. Oh, maybe he had me. You can see now. He's just close that leg now. Yeah, maybe he's listening to me. So the female is also lying down not very far away from that male. And please don't get surprised. I am not alone by the sighting at the moment. I do have some other guests who are enjoying this spectacular sighting. You can see now he's on a very deep sleep. But lions can tend to become very active quickly. If anything comes here now when it's lying down flat like that, you're not going to believe that it is the very same lion who is sleeping at the moment. Now, that is true, Rosina. I am with you. It is so difficult here in the wild. So the animals, they do develop quite a lot of adaptations in order to save themselves and also in order to protect their little ones. So imagine a female going on false ostrus. That is something else. It is amazing. these lions, the females, they know the consequences because males will come and do what is called infanticide. Here is where they are going to kill the babies of the previous males so that they can be able to drive ostrich cycle on females to go back on heat so that they can start their own generation. So, but that shows that males as well are so clever because they know what to do in order to provoke the hormones. So naturally, they know what is expected of the males just to change the interest of the female. The male looks like he's part of the avoca. When looking at him, I can see he's got quite a lot of scratches. And this male, he looks like a male I have seen before mating with one of the females from the avoca pride. I saw him earlier on. He just stood up and walked a little bit. He was limping, and the fact that he was limping does not necessarily mean that he is injured. Sometimes because of lying down by the difficult terrain, when they wake up because of long hours, it's not like the bed here is difficult, so you will see them limping for a while, and after that, they will be walking very nicely. So he is part of the avoca coalition, not an avoca pride. We don't have the avoca pride yet. We've got the avoca coalition, which is normally dominating the Unkuhuma pride. So now let's cross over to one of my friends.
Welcome back, and my girls are getting ready to do something. They're all glued to some hartebeest that are at a distance because there's nothing else. I'm thinking they will go for that because it's the only available thing at the moment. You can tell that all the females, look at that, beautiful cattle egrets just flying past everybody. That is Limpy and two of her cubs, and then the other, the other cub belongs to another female. The limp has come back, and we will be sharing with you her limp. We know her for having this limp for a very long time. It never goes away. It heals. Then when it's almost going away, something happens and it comes back. I think it was a broken bone that never got to heal well, and every time she chases something, she injures it and it comes back, so it never heals. And I just noticed that she's very, very limpy today. In fact, she wasn't putting any weight on that leg. I don't know what happened earlier on. I don't know if this morning whoever was watching saw her with the injury. I don't know if I didn't ask David. I don't know if she had the injury. Remember to engage me on hashtag SafariLive. If you want to know something about the Sausage Tree Pride, I'm more than pleased to tell you one thing or two that I know about this beautiful pride of lion that we have been following for quite a while, and they've always given us opportunities to experience lion life. Finak, thank you, and it's always a pleasure to hear your name, and I enjoy your questions very much. You asked me if she's got enough milk for the cubs or she needs to hunt. No, she doesn't have enough milk, and she will need to get something quite soon because if she waits long, the cubs might become very desperate and she might become very weak, which is going to make the situation even worse. So she doesn't have milk and she will need to hunt either tonight or tomorrow. I'm hoping that they can get something. It's not always happy for the other side, whoever's going to be hunted, but lions have to eat, and you can tell most of them right now are looking quite thin. They haven't had a good meal for over 2 weeks, so they don't have milk, and you can tell look at how they're fixed to those hartebeest at a distance. They're looking. Yes, you see, you know how, you know, they're not, you know, they don't have anything at all in their bellies. Okay, I'm gonna be here. Let me send you to some other things, you know, to Steph, who's got some hippos, some birds in the Chobe in Botswana.
I also, for your sake, hope that the lions are going to be hunting. Look at what we got here, a completely unique view of hippo at crocodile eye level, at grass level. And these three hippo have been feeding on the grass. It seems like they've been feeding here since we got here yesterday. It was obviously they haven't. This one hippo is quite shiny. In fact, I actually just want to see if that's water or if it's norhipposudoric acid that they have leaking off of themselves. It's water. Brent, you'd like to know if hippos are dangerous to the boats here? They do pose a significant risk, Brent, but the guides here are really well experienced, really well trained, and from what I've seen at least, very respectful of hippos and their spaces. They're given lots of space, and while they no doubt represent a threat to, excuse my lackadaisical posture I have over here, I'm actually just anchoring the boat on the bank, which is why my shoes are there. It's not because I'm trying to be funny. But yeah, Brent, it's basically, they do pose a significant risk, but the training and the experience of the guys make all the difference out here, and so accidents are few and far between, and you know, dangerous encounters between man and hippos, thankfully, you know, there, but they don't deal with it. These hippos, generally speaking, hippos can actually eat almost all of their food requirements in a very short space of time, and they'll go spend the rest of the time in the water. Here, however, even though there's an abundance of grass and there's an abundance of clean water, we see hippo out of the water here all the time. I think it's because, I don't even know what it's because. I'm going to take a guess at why we see hippo out the water here. And they're just reducing competition for the same food source, I think. So it's one, just, you know, hippos don't need to socialize when they're feeding as much, and they're just making use of a much, they don't have to walk as far, and so they pick when they want to eat, basically. And then also, I think there are just so many hippo here that, you know, we're just seeing them a lot more frequently. And hippo is very shiny. Now, hippo do have glands that leak an acid sun cream come antibacterial sort of pinkish fluid from their skin. That hippo, I don't know, do you think it's sweating or do you think it's just water, Dave? I think it's water. I also think it's water. Normally dries to this like sticky orange, reddish color. Katie, you just asked a question, why do we think the hippo are so much more out of the water here than they are at Djuma? Katie, I think it's just the sheer number of hippo. The chances of seeing a hippo out the water is that much higher, and so we're seeing them out of the water more. I also think that the overabundance of really good quality food here means that hippo don't only need to feed on these things at night altogether. They can feed whenever they feel like it, really, and because they're close to the water, when they start getting hot, they can just pop in. So I definitely think that it's, I don't know this answer for true, it's what I think, at least anyway, so I think it's one of those, or even a combination of those two circumstances. But I mean, it is a good and noteworthy observation that we do see a lot more hippo here out the water than I've seen in a lot of places. And even when I'm contrasting what I've seen in the South Luangwa National Park, which is many, many more hippo than here, there you also don't see many hippo out of the water during the day. But it's because it's a drier habitat, I think, and they have to walk a lot further to get food, and they'll choose to do that at night in case they overheat. Here, they don't have to worry. They can eat a little bit when they feel like it and then just pop back into the water when they're getting too hot. So lots of food and lots of hippo. And a nice sighting. But to these hippos sort of moving off into the grass, it does give us the opportunity to move on and for you to go back to Isaac's hunting lions.
Okay, it is very windy, as you can see the grass moving, and also maybe you might be hearing it. It's even shaking the vehicle slightly. Looks like, you know, somebody might get some rain somewhere, and the clouds are being pushed towards the border, quite a long ways away. That is Limpy. She's up, but I don't think she can do much. This is the leanest I have seen her. She is usually very, very healthy. Her coat is still perfect, but she is quite thin, according to the way we know her. But still very regal, very healthy tone, and the skin, you know, all looks perfect. But she does look like she needs a meal. Nancy, you asked, you know, what causes her to limp? I didn't get that. Please, could you repeat? I would really like, you know, to answer you that question. Well, well, you know, it could be arthritis, but I doubt it, because, you know, if it's arthritis, that it means, as I know from history, you know, when it's really cold and chilly, it's when it really affects, you know, bones, like early in the morning, early evening. But for her, she has been well for the last almost 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden today, she's not well, she's limping. So I would say it is not arthritis, but if it is prolongs, maybe for another maybe 6 months to 1 year, then it might carry on to become arthritis. You see that paw that she, you know, she's putting on the sun. Good dental formula. Yeah, she's got really cute, you know, beautiful teeth. So that paw you saw is the one that is actually, she's it's hurting, and I think she's gonna play a very big role now of just sitting with the cubbies and dragging behind. I think that's going to become her duty for the next maybe couple of weeks, because that limp has rendered her ineffective. So, you know, she might end up, you know, staying behind and waiting for it to heal. I hope it heals much faster, because she's a very important part of this, you know, pride, and there are only 5 females, so the, you know, she's really, really needed. That is the other female. Who is that? Yeah, that is the mother of one cub. That is around 4 months. We haven't given her a name. Kibet, you asked if I think they will hunt. Yes, of course. They look like, you know, they need something, and they cannot get it without hunting. So they will hunt. What time? I don't know. It can be the next minute. It can be, you know, tomorrow morning. You know, when I say soon, soon in Africa can mean anything from 2 minutes to, you know, 6 hours. So you never know. They will be hunting, but I don't know when. That little guy there, I don't know what he's looking at. Oh, they're all here now, quite a good number of them, all, you know, encouraging each other. That licking is a strengthening of the bond, and also the saliva, I believe it contains, you know, same smell in the same pride, so, you know, actually they can spread the scent of one another. Yeah, that's a phlegm and grimace, you know, the opening of the mouth. Sometimes they'll pick up, you know, urine from other pride members, and sometimes they'll use an organ situated in the upper passage of the nose to detect if, you know, who they are and if they are in season, and many other, you know, things. Yeah, look at her. You know, she's very playful today with her little ones. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna see the limp. No, that's not her. That's not her. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna send you to Sydney, who's got some active lions. more than mine, and then yeah, I'll be here.
You can see that the female is going to the male now. Maybe you can see the tail is waving. It means now the male is being called to come for mating. Look at that. It is going to happen now. I can promise you.
I don't know what to lose. Exactly 9 minutes.
Oh, I think the tree just disturbed them a little bit, but she's coming again. There she is. This is lovely. Listen to that. Just listen to that crowd. That was amazing. So this male, if you look at his copulatory organ, you will see that it has got some barbs. It has got some kind of spikes, which are there for reasons. The spikes must have to scratch the copulatory passage of the female when it's withdrawing in order to kickstart the process of ovulation. Without ovulation process, the female is not going to reproduce. So the ovulation process, it is a process whereby the eggs are ready for fertilization purposes. Fertilization is simply a fusion of a male and female gametes in order to produce a zygote. So you can see now they are very much tired because it needs quite a lot of efforts. So every time the female must have to growl and sometimes even try to lash the male with the nail so that she can get rid of him because it's so painful when it's withdrawing. So it is clear that the male who doesn't have strong barbs cannot be able to reproduce with a female. So we're very lucky to see them mating. It is the second time we are seeing them since we have been here. The first time happened just during our arrival, and now it happened again. So it looks like the male doesn't have a lot of energy at the moment. He's so very much tired. I saw him trying, but I can see that also his ending part was not as impressive as the other times. When we got here, he was so very strong and powerful. And the female as well, when she lashed him, it was so amazing. So now it means they're going to relax for a while. They're not even following. They're not even doing it after every... Romet, my favorite pride, it is the Unkuhumas. The Unkuhuma pride, if you see them when they're all together, walking at night, especially during the sunset, on the road, they're just everywhere. And how they walk as a pride, you will see these are really the king of the jungles. They walk showing that they've got pride of being part of the royal family, the kings. That is why I'm so in love with the Unkuhuma pride. But I cannot love the Unkuhuma without loving the Avoca coalition. Avoca is amazing. So when the Unkuhumas are all together, it's so amazing. So maybe they're not very far away from here where we are, because normally if one of them is mating, they just have to isolate themselves away from the group, from the pride, while the pride is not very far. So you can see the female now is on her deep sleep, and at least now we know that she is working very hard. We are going to expect the babies in about 3 months' time. So you can see that the male just next to is trying to listen to what is happening to the surrounding. But while I'm waiting for another opportunity to see the amazing mate, I am going to take you to the Chobe National Park in Botswana, where Steph is just by the river having something interesting.
There's an opportunity to watch elephants cross from one sand or vegetated sand bank or island to another, and we are really hoping and praying that that's what we're going to see here. They stopped what they were doing, all of a sudden went into single file and came to a shallow entry point, and they're going to swim, they're going to cross. We've got an elephant crossing. Now we are going to give them some space because we don't know where they're going to go. You don't want to disturb them. No, are you just going to have a swim? Is that what you're doing? Just having another swim. Oh, 2 swims in one day. Jackpot! Let's see if the rest follow suit. Come on, in you go. Slightly older crowd this, not as many babies. And very similar again. Kirsty tells me that a lot of you are saying, yay, this is awesome. It is. Seen 2 swimmings in one day. Don Main, you'd like to know if this water is salty or fresh water. It's fresh water, Don Main. All this water that we're seeing here comes from Angola and is rainfall water. And there's still a couple of 100 kilometers to go before it gets to the sea. And even though the Zambezi mouth does have significant tidal flow, it doesn't reach this far. One of the main reasons I think of it is because there's so many rapids in the Zambezi. It's a navigable river for portions, but for a lot of it, there's just short portions. It's not a long river that you can travel up like the Nile or the Congo. There are rapids, lots of them, that stop this river from being utilized as a significant sort of trade route. Now all of these elephants are in the water. This is just such a privilege, everybody, I must be honest with you. Ikula, you're asking how warm the water is. Ikula, I haven't been able to put a finger or a toe into this water, to be honest with you. I'm too nervous of crocodiles. So it's definitely coolish. I would say it's probably around about, let me say, 20 degrees centigrade. It's, you know, it's not warm like a warm Indian Ocean tropical water at the coast. It's river water, but not mountain stream cold, if that makes any sense. Now, elephants are a tactile species. They enjoy being close to one another, they enjoy touching one another, and what they're doing there is they're just enjoying a swim, a lot less energetic than the previous swim that we witnessed. This is just a lot calmer. There's a little baby there, trunk up, because that baby is actually swimming. It's not standing at the moment. Mr. Tuvok, you'd like to know if this water is clean enough for humans to drink. Mr. Tuvok, there's so many settlements on the side of this river, and, you know, personally, I wouldn't drink it without purifying it, if that answers your question. I mean, it's not like there's people everywhere in huge cities or anything like that, but I definitely would purify it, and I think it's a clever idea. Have we been drinking river water since we've been in Kasane? Absolutely. I have no doubt that the water that's coming out of our taps is purified straight from the river. I've been drinking it since I got here and have had no problems at all. So just look at this. We've got a pile up. This is a proper wrestle going on here. And that little baby, I have no doubt, is swimming. It's not standing. It might be standing on its back feet. But just judging from how deep these other elephants are in the water, and that's that big elephant standing, that baby is definitely underneath. There you can see its head just sticking out. So it's kicking using its feet, and it's just natural buoyancy to keep it afloat. Look at their color. I just love the color of a wet elephant. It's just this beautiful gray color, and with the green behind them and the blue and the yellow of the sun, their white tusks. It's just such a lovely color. I'm a big fan of cement work in, sorry, my ears have fallen up. I'm a big fan of cement work in construction, especially dark cement. And I have a real liking for the color that these elephant are, especially when you contrast it against all the other colors that naturally occur out here. The sky reflecting in the water, white clouds, white tusks, green grass, brown mud. Sol, you'd like to know if there are leeches in the water. There are leeches in the water here, Sol. I'm convinced of it. The Linyanti swamp is upriver of where we are now, and there'll be lots of leeches in that swamp. And this river water came through the Linyanti swamp before coming here and back into the Chobe Channel. And so, yes, I think that there's probably a lot of leeches here. This elephant smelt something on the wind. You can see what a respectful distance that we are keeping away from all of these elephant. We're not disturbing them. And it's just testimony to the level and skill of the guides out here. Just full respect to the animals and the wildlife around. That little one just having a proper swim. So enough food in their mouth, and they decided that's done. Swimming is where it's at. Really cool. There's just 3 of us in this particular sighting. Or 3 boats, I should say. Probably about as many people as we find around a lion sighting or an elephant sighting in the Kruger Park. I wouldn't say that there's an astronomical amount of people here. And with so many different elephant sightings up and down the river, it's easy to spread yourself out. I'm sure in the dry season or the high season, when there's thousands of elephants here and lots of tourists, it gets a bit busier, but it's relatively short-lived. And I think for the rest of the year, we have these rather special, intimate sightings with these ellies. Trunks up, cooling down, hugging each other, just reaffirming those social bonds with one another by a shared experience. By definition, a proper family. Right, in contrast, I think we're going to send you away to some other ellies that are nowhere near any water and see what they're up to.
Welcome back to South Africa. And, well, we have found some elephants of our own. And, well, they are cooling down by flapping their ears. Steph, they don't have the luxury of a very nice cold river to go swim in, although there are lots of watering holes they could go swim in, but they generally don't do too much of it down here. The Chobe seems to be quite a common thing, and you can see that they just enjoy it. It's not just about cooling down, it's also about enjoyment, and that's how we can relate to elephants, because, you know, when you look at children, human children, we can swim all day long. You know, eventually you get parents have to pull the kids out to the water and say, come on now, it's time to dry off. Otherwise, kids will just play in the pool all day long. I can do the same thing all day long. And the temperatures are at that sort of level. It's lovely to just play. But wonderful small herd of elephants here. We've got a couple bulls with them. That's a big bull you see there. Busy grazing. A nice, decent set of tusks on him. Really decent set. See how smooth it is on the bottom there. That is a characteristic feature when the tusks are worn down on the bottom. Let me just reposition here. Seb, I'll just go forward. When the tusks are worn down on the bottom, in the Kruger, there's lots of concrete sort of reservoirs where water's kept. And it's quite a common feature for elephants to stick their head over and into that. And that concrete sort of trough or reservoir is known to grind down their tusks. Monica, you say they don't have access to a river. Well, they definitely don't have access to a permanent river here. but they do have access to the dams, the large watering holes to swim if they want to, but well, we don't generally see it too often. We've seen them at Chitwa a few times having a proper little swim. Here's a mama here coming with no tusks. It is part of the population, tuskless females. You don't often find too many tuskless males in the Kruger. Look how much bigger that bull is at the back there. Oh, hello, mama. You're going to come right past us, are you? Oh, the tusks are there. They're actually just very small stubs. What a magnificent bull. Actually not as worn down as I thought initially, and he's in must. We're just going to sit here and watch. He's dribbling, but he is eating. Hasn't shown any discomfort to our presence. Don't worry, sir. We're not going to cause trouble for you and your ladies. I promise you that. Magnificent specimen, isn't he? There we go. Walking downhill. He's just coming into must. The back of his legs, actually, you can see that his legs aren't really even that wet. So it's just a new stage of must. And, well, he's probably sensing estrus in some of these females. As you can see, he's hot on their tails. Okay, well, as we move on from these elephant, they're looking like they're going north into Buffelshoek. We're going to send you back up to Isaac in the Mara, who's possibly moved off from his lions, or has he found them some dinner?
Okay, I'm trying to cross this section here because we just wanted to get closer to the buffaloes, and they're to my left. At the same time, have a picture of the lions, and so I'm going to try and position somewhere back here. And these are the animals that the lions want to go for. And they're quite a distance away, so let me park quickly and share what is happening with you. That is what we see from where I am. Those are the buffaloes in front. You see them over there. They're all, you know, wondering, you know, what I'm doing here, and looking at me, but the lions are quite a distance to the left. Yeah, I'm quite far away, so I'm not, you know, disturbing them in any way. This is a big herd of male buffaloes, which are almost, you know, 3 or 4 times the size of a fully grown lioness. So I wonder if they're gonna go for these guys, but they all looked very determined. I had to leave where they are so that I could give them a chance not to be detected. If you zoom in, you'll see how far they are. They're quite a long ways back there. This is the view that I have here, and the lionesses are somewhere, you know, over there. I don't know. Yeah, you see her? She's moving. Was that her? No, she's not her. She's somewhere there. I'm looking for her. Can we see any? Yes, there they are. In between the termite mound, you see them. Those are the lions, and only you can see their heads peeping in the long grass. They're quite long ways away. So we've left where we were, and we want to give them a good, you know, distance for them to be able to do their own natural thing without us interfering. You see the buffaloes have gone back to their normal. Okay, while I wait here for the, you know, buffaloes to drink and think what they want to do, let me send you back to Steph in Chobe.
These ellies are just finishing up their swim, unlike those lions, which haven't even started their buffalo hunt yet. And they're just standing on the bank here, eating a bit of the reeds in the grass. As they're finished off, that little baby, he's deciding that he's just going to make the most of every single second of this bath, and he's still porpoising and acting like a whale. Whereas the adults and the sub-adults have decided that that's enough, and are starting to eat, just standing in the water, keeping their feet nice and cold or their toes nice and cold. You can see how they get up here. See that cow, she's got some pigmentation behind her skin, which is behind her ears, which is unusual to see. So the big female on the left-hand side has got an unusual pigmentation or lack of pigmentation behind her ears. And she could have been born with that. It could be some scarring of a sort. I don't know. I don't know enough about elephant, and I don't see them bathing enough. What are you doing? She's shoving her tusks into the lawn. Oh, she's looking for some sand to throw on her head, some decoration. So she's using her tusks to leverage up tufts of grass and sand, and she's then using that to throw over her back. That's incredible. What weird behavior. Well, we've almost forgotten about the fact that we've got 3 completely submerged. There we go, some more sand and decoration. Maybe she just wants to make herself look pretty today. I was quite enjoying that particular grass. I think one elephant is still submerged in the throng there, that little one. Oh, there she's now putting her bum into the sand, giving it a good scratch. I've actually seen the compressed banks for the last 2 days and wondered what was making it. Now I know, it's elephant bums. Lady Starfire, I'd like to know what age the moms would allow their babies to swim. Lady Starfire, I think as soon as they are independent enough to want to swim, I think is the answer. I mean, I've seen tiny babies swimming. They can't always get into the deep end, and very often mom has to intervene and give a helping hand in a strong current or trunk, leg for a bit of leverage. But no, babies can swim. She's having a proper decoration. She's now got grass all over her head. And I see the other one has followed suit. In fact, what's happened is they've all started to mirror her behavior. It's very weird, just watching them gouge out those massive chunks of grass and then throw it over her head. I mean, it's not to keep her cool. She's not getting warm at the moment. It's not to stop biting flies, because that's better done by mud and sand. It's just a bit of decoration. And there she makes some mud now, so kicking up the mud. Imagine being kicked by that elephant. They should kick you into a different postal code. You know, this is just behavior that we just don't see so often. Anna-Marie, you'd like to know if it's very hot this afternoon. It is. It's not temperature-wise, it's not that hot, Anna-Marie. I think it's probably around about 25, maybe 24, but the sun is super intense. And really it's very clear. The air is very clear, and so the sunlight is super intense. It's not burning as much as what it does in the Mara, to be honest with you. But typical of Botswana, a couple of times that I've been here in my life, late afternoon sun is just, you just can't get away. It's spiky. Look at these ellies now just rolling in the mud. Isn't that so spectacular? You know, we're not really paying enough attention to the fact that we just don't see this behavior anywhere where we have operations. It's just unique to the Chobe River and other places, a few places in Africa. Look at that one upside down, leg kicking in the air. And in the background is Kasane. In the background there is Kasane village, and that's where we're staying. That's on the borders of the Chobe National Park, and where you can fly into, and the biggest town in this particular area. Well, it's a village really, it's not really even a town. Leg in there, did you get that, David? Ellies.
What's that?
Ah, so we're still busy looking at these ellies. Just a really nice, oh, there we go. That is also a comment of what elephant do. They tend to just defecate as hard as what they can as soon as they get into the water. Whenever they have a swim, that one's got a properly runny tummy as well. Just could be a sign of just the overabundance of water that you have over here. It not necessarily means that they're sick. There's one getting out. Watch, she's going to battle to get out, but watch that. Watch how the big one at the back gets out. Very difficult for elephants to actually climb, but they are actually a lot more maneuverable than what you think. They look cumbersome, but in actual fact, an elephant will get up a bank easier from deeper water than what we could as humans. And she's not going to get up there. It's a bit higher there. She's going to just let her. And the reason being is that 60% of their weight is over their front legs, And if they haven't got decent leverage, they actually can't get their back up. They're just having an absolute poo fest over here at the moment. They can make relatively, for animals that enjoy drinking clean water, I promise you, they can make a clean body of water relatively disgusting quite quickly. See, Nak, you said they look so happy. I agree with you that these elephants do look happy. A lot less frenetic or active than the last elephant that we saw. They are at peace, this young elephant herd or the small elephant herd. This female now, she's washed all the decorations off of her head that she so painstakingly took her time to put there. And now it's time for another swim. Haven't quite finished the swim. Kids aren't finished yet, so you might as well go join them. This other one is still busy gouging massive chunks of vegetation out. Look at that. There's just something about a late afternoon sunlit elephant in the Chobe that just makes it, doesn't it? Don't you think? Forest, bush in the background, sparkly blue water. I can describe the wind that's coming off. Although the sun is quite sharp, the wind that's coming off of the river is quite fresh. And it's blowing from the elephant to us. So I've got this lovely, fresh smelling, grassy breeze blowing in our faces. It smells like wet elephant. And just that. Amelia, you're loving watching this, Kirsty tells me, and I think a lot of people are feeling exactly the same way as you are, Amelia. I'm also loving this, and everyone around us, big smiles on their faces, big thumbs up. They're going to cross. They're going to cross. Everyone is left, and we're going to get the crossing all to ourselves. That is what patience buys you, everybody. We are now seeing an elephant crossing into the deep water. Notice that the baby elephant are swimming in the mother's wake with a big elephant at the back to push with the trunk and help support all the babies. So that is a very deliberate and that is how they cross. Mother forging the way ahead, keeping the direction. Babies swimming off. They're actually swimming, they're kicking with their feet. Mother might also be swimming with an adult elephant at the back, busy lending support to the youngsters. They won't be putting their trunk on them. Trunk out forward, all the senses extended. And a real big treat. This is a real privilege, everybody. And they're now coming up into the shallows. They cross the deeper side. The babies will start being able to stand right now. Isn't it just epic? Really, really, really cool. And now they're coming out. Did you see the youngster in the middle, exactly where the wake would have been? It would have had the least amount of turbulence. In fact, it would have been pulled along by the turbulence that the ones in front of it would have created. She's a little bit indecisive. Let's see where she wants to go. This is so close we are. We're about 15 yards away from these elephants at the moment. Lauren, you said that was magical. I must be honest with you, that was the first time I've ever seen this many elephant crossing in a river. I absolutely agree with you. Magic. I wonder why this female doesn't want to get up onto the island. There must be something there that's bothering her. There are some water buck that are just on the other side. Are you going to swim back across now? Don't tell me you're going to swim back across. Are you really? Now, I'd like you to note, when you replay this in your memory, that these elephants got themselves into that formation without a word being said. Now, the next time you're in a shopping center and you watch your mom trying to get kids in line, have a look at how many words are spoken before the kids actually get into line. Makes you think about the obedience of intelligent animals, right? I know that I run out of words trying to get my boy in line in the shopping centre and just basically give up. He's crossed a busy road, for lack of a better word. No verbalization needed. Back again in that formation. It's quite dangerous here. That baby elephant can still get swept away. The danger of a big crocodile will be lurking inside that mom's head. This baby hasn't finished swimming yet. I wonder if he's going to get reprimanded by one of the older ones. He's like, get up and stop playing, man. Come on. You've had in half an hour of swimming. What I'm finding amazing is the fact that this female is choosing to walk parallel to the bank. She's not getting out onto the bank. She's choosing to walk parallel. And it's definitely the lead cow, because when she flaps open her ears, I can actually see that pigmentation that she's got. You can see that youngster still keeping very tight to the older elephant. The reason for that is because that is the safest place to be. Least chance to be washed away, greatest chance to be helped if there's a problem. And out onto the island, and you can just see how lush that grass is. Just immediately a mouthful of grass into their faces. Total delight. All the African jacanas flying in here from all over the place to come and feast on the bonanza that the elephant's feet would be kicking up. A bunch of cattle egrets flying in also make the most of the elephants disturbing the insects. And we've just got jacana after jacana flying in here. That female, she's got a massive tuft of grass. Yes, that it was just an absolutely proper sighting of Ellie's Crossing, don't you think? And they will probably spend the night on this island. Lots of food, relatively safe. Where else would they go? And right here for tomorrow. Ooh. That was just really, really, really cool. Right. Well, I'm just going to take in what I've just seen. We're going to send you over to Steve.
Thank you, Steph. Sounds like you're having a wonderful time up there. Oh, very, very blessed. Well, we're about to emerge at the Djuma Den site. I haven't seen them in some time. Holding fingers that they're going to be there. We're timing it so we feel like it's going to be the right time of day for the Djuma clan to be in attendance. I hope so. What do we all think? Do we think they're going to be there? Yes? No? I hope so. See a little plonk. The two new little ones. First, see if they're using their plunge pool. There's no one in the plunge pool at the moment. Just pop our nose in here. 30 seconds. And we will see what we can see. And yay! They're here, everybody. They're outside of the den as well. Hello, Plonk. Where are you running? Oh, they're two young ones. That's not Plonk. I don't know who that is. Two of Pretty's youngsters, I think. Yes, Plonk is on the right over here, suckling. And these are Pretty's two youngsters. Very good, Djuma Den. Welcome. Hello, guys. How are you doing? See, they're looking a little bit like, what's going on? Haven't seen a car in a while. Hello. What are you doing? He's got a big fat tick on the inside of its ear. Yes, look at that tick there. Oh, no. Hello, guys. Oh, there's a little one coming out, Seb. There we go. Hello, little one. Oh, this is so special. Thank you, Hukumuri, for showing us this den. Those of you who don't remember, Hukumuri led us here. And now we have the Djuma Den once again. And let's see, the smallest there is one of June's youngsters. And we'll see how she behaves, or it behaves, with these two others. Because that is, the social standing starts to sort of work at this sort of stage. These two youngsters they're a little bit, they're not 100% relaxed, you know. Corky is on the right-hand side over here with Plonk having a little bit of a suckle. Here comes the second little one out there. We'll wait for this action to die down on this side, and then we'll reposition to get a better view. There we go. This is the standard greeting of hyenas. The lifting of the leg, except the other youngster's supposed to do the same thing. It's a reciprocal gesture, basically showing off your most private part. Okay, let's quickly go over to the lion action.
Just listen to that. That was amazing. I think he did very well this time, because the last time it was not as rough as now. As I can see, the reaction of the female has just shown me that he did very well. And congratulations to this very big male for managing to do it very well this time. So you can see that now this is amazing. You can see that they're just passing very close to us. Look at this. So now let's cross over back to Steve and see the hyenas, as the lions are now moving much more towards our property. I don't have to worry at all.
Thank you, Sidders. I'm sure that I had a feeling it wasn't going to last very long. Lion mating is never very long indeed. And here we've got the two very inquisitive ones coming right up to the car. Who knows what we've driven in today? Right here. Hello, tick ear. So they're smelling all sorts of things. So these two that are practically under the car at the moment are Corkies, not Corkies, Pretty's youngsters. And these other two are June's. And we believe it to be June's first litter. And I haven't seen her. She's not here at the moment. Maybe she's around the corner, sticking out of the other hole there. We just can't see. But it's fantastic. I suppose when Corky's around or one of the mums is around, that's when you'll have the cubs out. The last 3 or 4 times we've come, there's been no... What are they doing there, Seb? They're right under the car now. When we... every other time we come, there's been no adults, and so that's when the youngsters will stay underground. They don't generally come out if there's no safety. There's a confidence of having a matriarch or having mum around. It definitely does embolden the youngsters. Lauren, I haven't heard from Jamie, but Lauren was quite upset. She, on Instagram, she posted a broken heart icon at how jealous she was that we found the den site, I think 2 days after she left. So she's super excited, of course, that we've got it. But she's not going to be back here for some time. She's going to be going to the Mara after her leave. She's gone back home to Scotland, and she'll be in the Mara on her next journey. So by the time she comes back here, these two youngsters that are completely black will probably be spotted and looking a little bit like Plonk does. But it's great to see the Sausage Tree Pride in the north growing in numbers and the Duma clan doing the same. I'm very, very fortunate to have such little bundles of joy running around. Look, I've got a stick. You know the creases on their heads, eh, Seb? Oh, look, I ate the stick. Can you imagine if you left a pair of shoes here, how long they would last? Yes, you are very cute. You are gorgeous, in fact, with your little feet. You can see the claws are out in hyena. And we see the little lion cubs and the leopard cubs. Their claws are not visible. But did you see that youngster just pasted on that little branch on the bottom left that's now moving? at a little pasting. So hyenas will paste for territorial markings around their territory, and the youngsters will practice the pasting. You'll see when they sort of move their anal gland, which is just below the anus, they do this little squatting motion, and they drag it over a little branch or a little stick or something quite low to the ground, and then that leaves a sort of a dark, sort of viscous paste on there that generally has got a very foul smell. And the youngsters, they practice around the den, and the adults will do those pastings in sort of territorial signposts around their territory, and those pastings actually have sort of all sorts of communication signatures that will tell other hyenas the strength of the clan, the sort of the sexual maturity of the individual, all sorts of things that we can only really postulate at. And what's very interesting is the brown hyena actually does two pastings. One is short-lived and one is much longer-lived, due to the fact that they are such more nomadic, and they cover a much larger area. So it takes them a lot longer to get back to a sort of point of interest like that. Certainly, let's invite some more people on board, Nina, and show them what's going on with the Djuma den. We haven't seen them in a few days. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Djuma in the Sabi Sands, where we have come across the Djuma den with 4 or 5 of the young cubs in attendance. And obviously, as soon as we went live with you there, they decided to go onto the other side of the mound. Good evening, my name is Steve, and I'm joined by Sebastian on camera. And we're just going to move up a little bit and show you. I think they might come out. There's another hole on that side. But before we move around, oh, there we go. It's one of the youngsters. This is one of the two. There we go. The other youngster is going to come back. These two that you can see in shot now, one is just the feet. These two youngsters are 5-6 months old, and they are the daughters of Pretty, or the son and daughter of Pretty, who I haven't seen in some time. And we found this den again only last week or so, and it's nice to come back and to see these youngsters. We didn't see these two. They were probably with Pretty at another den for a period of time, but now they've come to join this communal den, because you might have seen those two black ones. There we go. It's popping its head out. There's another one about to come on the top as well, Seb. Coming on the top. There we go. These are 2 of the newest members. You can see how dark they are. And, well, they are the first litter and the newest litter, and to a very low-ranking female by the name of June. And so they're very, very young. Valerie, this is very cool. Very, very cool indeed to be able to see these youngsters out and about. It's got a lot to do with the fact that the matriarch is in attendance. She's not in the best position for us to show her to you now. She's just on our right-hand side, suckling her single cub by the name of Plonk. And while the other 2, or the other 4, are basically sitting around probably waiting for their mums to come back, because hyena can suckle from anywhere from 8 months to over a year. And that's how they're able to sort of survive around the den, because it's only the matriarch who's allowed to bring food back to the den. Well, not necessarily allowed, but if a low-ranking individual brought food back, it would just get wolfed up by all the others that are more high-ranking than her. So they don't bring food back, but they are able to give them the youngsters milk for a very extended period of time. This youngster enjoying the comforts of the side of the den. A little bit of grooming. You see the spots that come through. The spots start coming through at about 2.5 to 3 months, and then they're pretty much fully spotted by 4.5, 5 months. So that little one you see that's black there will start getting a few spots on its bottom, whereas the shoulders and head will still stay quite dark, and then it'll slowly start to change to then call them the spotted hyenas. Christine, you love the name Plonk. Well, I think it's quite an interesting name. And I don't actually even know how it came about. I tried to ask a little while ago. I was on leave when it came about, and it's one of those names that stuck. I don't think it was intended by James Hendry, to give the animal that name. I think he came up with it, and it just became a viewer favourite. And now it is there. You're not going to change his name at all. But the hyenas, born with erupted teeth. So So they have got teeth from the day they're born. Bert, you love these creatures. Well, that is something about hyenas that we've been able to do with our show. We've been able to change the mindset and the perception most people have of these lowly scavengers of the African plains that just steal food and cause havoc. Well, they are social, they are energized, they are cute, they are funny. They have personalities all unto their own. And isn't that just a precious little thing right there? Here we go. It's going to come and say hello. Come say hello to the camera, little one. Where is your mum? We'd love to see your mum. There's a good chance that they might have suckled already. Generally, after suckling, the youngsters have got a little bit of energy, and that's why they're running around the way they are. Don't forget, folks, you can please send in any comments and questions below. I'd love to hear from you and answer them. I heard a Franklin make a bit of a shout behind me there. Did you see how that youngster suddenly made a big beeline for the hole, but then looked at the other youngster and noticed it hadn't moved? That is the safety, the security of these youngsters. They don't venture too far from the hole. Just in the last week, we've had at least more than one leopard. 3 leopards in the space of a few days sort of arrived on the scene here. And so the hyenas need to be vigilant. A leopard would very, very readily snap up one of these youngsters. They are their competitors. Hello, Dr. Fujam. It is not the mother. This one you see on the left is, in fact, a 5.5, 6-month-old youngster. The adults are much bigger than that. I'll move up for you now, and then we can see. I'll show you who not only the mother is. It's not this one's mother, but the matriarch of the clan. She's sitting on the side of me here with her offspring, who is enjoying a very, very good suckle from mum. There's Corky, the dominant female of this clan, and that is Plonk right there, enjoying the safest and most comfortable spot on mum's belly. And now Plonk is an individual, an only child, and hyenas generally have 2, and so there'll always be a battle for sort of suckling rights and positioning, and Plonk, being the only individual, is able to access and have full rights to mum, whereas if there were 2, they would be competing for that best spot there, tucked up nicely underneath Corky's belly. You see how cozy does that look? And they can suckle for 20 to 30 minutes, 40 minutes at a time, at least 3 to 4 times a day in the beginning. And, well, that's very nutrient-rich milk, which is going to help Plonk to develop into a very strong and healthy young hyena. But before we go, Seb, just one more view over there, because that is the cutest little picture right there. Before we say goodbye to all of you, one more shot of our hyenas coming to say hello. They're very interested in all of you, and if you'd like to continue watching, we are still live for another 20 minutes or half an hour or so, so just Google Safari Live. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, thanks for your questions and comments, and have a beautiful evening. Welcome back, everybody. Isn't this just precious? Forgive me if I just have a quick drink of water there. So there's a nice little bit of love between these individuals. There's not animosity. You would expect there to be a little bit of biting and shoving. At the moment, it's all intrigue and inquisitiveness. But anyway, while we stay with these hyenas, let's go to their mortal enemy up in the Masai Mara with Isaac.
Okay, all the females are moving around. There is one female, kinky tail, who's gone quite a distance far away. We cannot see her. Remember, we are on infrared, and we can, that's the farthest we can see, but she's gone around a long ways around, and I think she's trying to push the buffaloes towards us, so that these ones are flanking. So just in case they come down this way, these ones are gonna get it. But the buffaloes are right in front of me. It's pitch dark, and we only switch on the lights, so that it can illuminate me. But before it was all dark, I cannot see anything. I'm using the help of infrared to be able to see how where they are. But they are in front of me somewhere, and the lions have gone round. And I think Kinky Tail is going to push the buffaloes towards this way, and then these ones flanking, might get something. But at the moment, they're somewhere in the dark here. They're all moving. Actually, you can see one, I think, to the left here. There is, I don't know which one it is here. Actually, I don't know who is this. This could be Limpy, because she's the one who's limping, and you can tell she's listening, using eyesight at the same time listening. It's total darkness here, and I can't see even a meter myself. But you can tell she's focused. She's looking at the same time listening. To the left, where she's facing now, is where the buffaloes are. Yeah. No, that's not Limpy. Yeah, she's headed straight towards the buffalo now. And I don't know, at any moment, they might be chased towards this way. I don't know who else is around here. Maybe if you sweep slightly to the right, Archie, see if we can see another female that are flanking. They're waiting. Yeah, there they are. That's another one that's waiting. You see how spread out they are. This is the strategy they normally use. They just wait. You see how alert, just waiting for that trigger to hear the hooves coming towards this way. If they're lucky they head this way, then they might get something. But they're all spread out in a line in front of me, quite a distance. And you see there's another one over there. I don't know who's that. Maybe that's one of the cubs. He's coming back. He feels like it's going to be dangerous, so it's coming towards where the females are, just in case the buffalo stampede, it doesn't get trampled. Kinky Tail disappeared into the darkness off to our right over there, and we can't see her anymore. And any moment something might happen, but it's hard to tell which way the buffalo are gonna go. You see these ones, we are actually illuminating using infrared lights, but we can't see anything. Even the lions, they actually, I think okay, she's moving. I don't know what she had. Okay, stretch, getting ready, getting those muscles ready for action. Actually, now I can tell they are moving much more free. Okay, while I wait here to see what happens, let me take you down to Steph, who's in Chobe, and see what he's up to.
Look at that fantastic sunset. Isn't that wonderful? Now, this is our last segment for the day, and probably from the Chobe River in Botswana for now. And we've got someone who just wants to say hello to you right now. So hello to Graham, everybody.
Hey, everybody. It's great to be over here in Chobe. Thanks so much for joining us. This is our last time that you'll be seeing us for the moment from Botswana, but it's our plan to be back here again soon once we've got everything organized, and we'll hopefully be coming to you on a daily basis from the Chobe River for a while. Not sure exactly when that's going to happen, but we're definitely working on it. Today has been amazing. To watch those elephants crossing over the river was super incredible. That's the first time we've ever had anything like that on SafariLive, and an absolute privilege to bring it all to you. So I don't know, to just be out here with you guys, Steph, Darby, thank you very much. Yeah. Kaiser in the back, thank you guys for driving us around. It's been amazing. This truly is a special place, as you've seen. So many elephant, hippos. We're not even in the season yet. When the dry season comes, there'll be even more. And we're looking forward to bringing it to you.
Kirsty says that everyone's saying thank you very much for bringing this to you, or bringing this to them, and lots of goodwill and good wishes.
Oh, excellent. I mean, thank you very much, everyone. And I've been seeing all your comments on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere, and I can see how much you're enjoying it, as much as we've been enjoying it. We've managed to turn Steph into a strawberry, as many of you have mentioned on Twitter, which is an achievement on its own. Strawberry Steph. But it's been great. Thank you very much, and we look forward to being back here real soon with you all.
Becky says tigers next, Graham. What's next?
Yeah, well, we've spent some time in India trying to do tigers, and we're going to carry on doing that. And you can expect some more surprises coming over the coming months, both above and below the water. And just keep watching, and you won't be disappointed.
So super excited. Thank you very much, Graham. That's awesome. All right, Chris, that's the sunset, and it's going down, and there are a lot better things to look at than my strawberry colored head, since we've got lions on the hunt with Isaac. So off you go. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, this lioness is waiting for the others to do the chase. It's quite a distance from us, and actually I think he's wondering what is taking too long, because the buffaloes are not very far. Actually, I think they're about 100 meters. We can't see them, but they're somewhere up there. I don't know if we can see them. They're somewhere in the dark there. Believe me, there's some buffalo there. Yeah, we're not pulling your leg. There is something there, and the lions can see and hear, but we can't see a thing. It's total dark, and it's like that. Yeah, that's how dark it is. And we're using the infrared. Even myself driving, I had to use the spotlight and just shine in front so that I don't illuminate everything, and so the buffaloes could have seen the lionesses. They all have flanked the buffalo like that. They're off to my right, and let's see if we can find them for you. They're somewhere, they're in the dark. We have lost them somewhere there. There it is. There's one. There's one. And they're all in the dark, waiting for one to make a move. I don't know how long it will take, but they have all surrounded the buffalo. You see, that's one. Sweep to the left a little bit more. Yeah, let's see if there's another one. A little bit more, a little bit more. Where's the other one? Yeah, it's disappeared there somewhere. Yeah. So they are spread out. They're quite a distance from us. That one's lie down. Sometimes it looks like they're doing nothing, but one is just waiting for the other to make a move, and then there is action. And they might be lucky, they might not be lucky. Remember, their success rate is not very good. It's almost around 60%, so it's not as good. You see that posture tells me she's trying to reposition without being noticed. Minamu, thank you for your question, and always nice to hear that you are tuned in to SafariLive. Does the wind prevent them, from, making a hunt? No, it's actually an added advantage this time round, because they are downwind and the buffaloes are upwind. So it's an added advantage, and it means that their success rate can go up, when the wind is like this. But every now and then it changes, and that can be detrimental, or that can twist things around if it changes and heads towards the buffalo. But so far so good. Everything is happening quite fast. I don't know how far they've gone that way, and we don't like interfering. We like leaving nature to take its course. So I'm just gonna drive a little bit more in front, then stop and just wait, and when I hear action is when I'm gonna put on my lights and maybe head towards whatever it's happening. Otherwise, it would be nice if we can to get closer. Let me move forward a little bit. Let's move forward a little bit, Archie. You see, if I illuminate like that, you will see the buffalo over there. But Shrew, you say, thank you for the wonderful drive. Yes, welcome. Always my pleasure, to give you a good drive. Yeah, let's move forward a little bit and then stop and see what's going to happen. I'm going to try and head away from everybody, and hopefully, we can get the action going before the end of the drive. Everybody's off to my right. I'm gonna switch off the right lights, then turn. Yes, let's take you to Sydney, who's got some meeting lions, while we wait out and see what's happening over here.
The female lion was just roaring now, and the male is not interested. And I'm very sure the male is not interested to exaggerate the roar because he doesn't like to invite any competition at the moment. So the female was just roaring, try to let all the other Unkuhuma Pride members about her whereabouts. And this male is not interested at all. So I can see that he is just next to that female seated. Look at that. This is amazing. Look at those beautiful and nice canines. So the teeth of these animals are so very much powerful. They even got the teeth which are strong enough to crush bones. You can see that this female is looking very much concerned at the moment. She must be thinking about the other pride members. Look at the ears are so very much wary. So by this time of the day is when the lions naturally are going to become active. So at the moment, the possibilities of them to wake up and start moving, they are very much high. So during the day, their movement are so much restricted because of the level of the star. The star I am talking about is the sun, as the sun is our nearest star. So I'm trying to listen to hear if maybe the other ones are replying. Because 2 days ago, when I saw this female somewhere on the road, Triple M, the other ones were deep in the thick bushes there. Maybe they're not very far away from the other closely related members. And I can guarantee you the safest lion at the moment in Juma Game Reserve is this female, because she's under a very strong scrutiny and a very strong supervision and protection of this majestic, beautiful male. He is going to do whatever it takes to protect this female. So the male is now charging to roar. I saw that now. Look at that. I thought he was going to roar because he did promise a little bit. I was hoping for that. But now that he is not showing any sign of carrying on roaring, I am going to take you back to Steve, who is having a lovely hyena sighting.
Welcome back, everybody. We are surrounded by these little cubs. They are all around. One even, I wasn't looking, and it came and sniffed my foot. And they were right here. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, there's Corky calling. Hear that. Corky started giving Plonk a proper licking. And he stopped feeding. And these two naughty little ones are right next to me. You want to climb in the car with me, do you? It is so close, folks, you can't even get him on camera. He's right here. I'm going to bop him on the nose in a minute. You don't want a hyena to suddenly get to the point thinking it can start nibbling on your foot while you're not watching. Very inquisitive. So Corky sort of got Plonk off of her. He stood up, he came and joined the other two, and all three of them came up and were giving our vehicle a proper investigation. And then I was having a look away and I felt something wet touch the side of my foot. And, well, that was indeed the nose of these hyenas. Here comes Plonk. Plonk, that was your mom calling. She's so powerful, isn't she? It's probably time for all of you to go back inside. You might have noticed, sorry to not have mentioned it earlier, we've gone into the IR spectrum because the light has just gotten to that level where it's not that easy to see. You see, Plonk is a very... Which one's Plonk now? I think Plonk is that one on the left there, the darker of the two. Yeah. This other one has gone right underneath my car. Let's come back. Stop it now, little one. I'm going to have to bonk you on the nose. He's not at all scared. It's not scared at all. That is the hyenas. There he is. He is being very cheeky. Or she, I can't tell at the moment. Very, very cheeky. I said, no, don't smell my shoe. It keeps coming back. It's very special, though, to be able to spend time like this with hyenas. I know that the light is starting to fade. They're probably going to go into their burrow soon because the adults, well, we've only seen one. It was Corky. She's moved off there. You heard her calling. The rallying cry of the troops, maybe trying to find out where the rest of her sisters or family are so that they can maybe go and find some food. You get many different communication calls with hyena. It's kind of that early evening call just to sort of, like we do with our radio, to say good afternoon mobile stations. Everybody knows we're out. And then we can all come together or maximize our search image or search area so that we can find animals. And hyena are the same. They will cover an enormous area in the search of scraps and food. Well, while we move on from these very cute and boisterous, cheeky hyenas this afternoon, let's go back up to the Sausage Tree Pride and see how they're getting along with their buffalo hunt.
Okay, welcome back. I'm trying to find somewhere to cross. I've come across a very tricky spot to cross, and the lions have gone across the other side to cross so that I can follow them. These are the obstacles we face sometimes when you come across a permanent stream like this. It becomes very difficult to cross, and you don't want to get stuck. So you have to be really careful where you want to, to cross. Doesn't help when you have a million flies flying over your face, like right now. Is this a good spot? Yes, it is. Let's try this one. Yes, I could see them. They've gone across the other side. So that's where I want to follow them and see what they're doing. Hold tight. Hold tight, Archie. Hold tight. All right. We are across. Okay, let's take you to Sydney while I try and get close to these lions and see what they're doing.
So you can see that I'm still here with the mating pair, and the mating pair has just done it again about few seconds ago. They are just finished now. We did not manage to show you the real action because they just decided to start running and disappeared here in the thick grass. Look at that. Look at that very beautiful male. I'm very sure that female is giving him a chance because she is so highly impressed with this very beautiful look. So from the road, I can promise you to hear where they are, it's not easy. The prey animals can even come here without knowing that these big predators are hiding somewhere. It's just that they are not interested on any hunting. As I saw the impalas passing by earlier, all they are interested on is to multiply through this reproduction process. So you can see that yes, it's so very much dark here behind that ear, which is something very important for their non-verbal communication. The black tips together with the tassel and the tip of the tail makes it much more easier for them to communicate below the hearing. So these very beautiful and majestic animals are leading us to the end of the broadcast, and thank you very, very much for your questions and comments. It has been an ornament having you this afternoon with all the interesting animals all the way from Botswana, Chobe National Park and Kruger National Park.